Yeah, sort
Then
out
I will
stream stuff.
rearrange them after people appear. Cool. Things are good. Sorry, I was muted because I was changing the camera stuff over here and getting
No
names
worries, no
pulled up.
worries. Yeah, been a while since I connected with you, Flats. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I know. I feel like it's been way too long. Like it's wait, when was the last time? I feel like it's like September or something.
It's been
Because
months because I haven't streamed in months, so we wouldn't have
mm-hmm.
podcasted in months.
What have you been doing? Like I know you've been working on the other YouTube channel.
Pretty much, honestly, just like mental wellness for like the first couple of months was just me trying to enjoy my life and like be a happier person.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last 2 months have just been like, yeah, working on new YouTube channel, or not even new, but different YouTube channel and a book. Actually, I'm writing a book.
You're writing a book?
Yeah.
On what?
That's crazy.
On how to be good at video games. So at some
Whoa.
point, I will tell you guys all about it when it's actually in a further stage of.
That would be
figured,
really nice if I was able to read books.
Yeah, I was
read
about to
it.
say, how many gamers
if I
can
could
read?
True. I'll make an audiobook as well to go with it. No, I mean, I figured like while I'm pretty much done with gaming, I may as well take all the knowledge that I've accumulated over time and put it to some use. And I was like, I'm pretty good at writing, so we'll see what we can get out of it.
So you're
What about
making
you
a
guys?
ninja book, like Ninja.
A ninja book. Ninja made a book.
Yeah.
Didn't Ninja make like
Was
a
it
whole
good?
course or something to be a content creator or something?
I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it kind of didn't go well. He doesn't talk about it anymore.
Okay, I see. No, I'm gonna try not to be too grifty about it. Like I'm gonna try and be pretty honest and nuanced, but we'll see. What about you guys? Marvel Rivals Gaming.
We do be rivaling our Marvels.
Yeah, Rivals has been great.
Seems like it.
I
Seems everyone's
played
really
17
happy.
hours yesterday.
Why?
And you're
I
saying
played with Donkey Bird.
Oh, I actually caught a little bit of that. You guys were spiraling a little bit. Like
She said she wanted to eat a raccoon because we had a raccoon one trick. Great. Yeah,
I'm sure there's places in the world you could do that.
I'm sure. Is it illegal to eat a raccoon?
I don't know. Maybe
Hello?
some places might be a protected species. What up, SK?
What are
Would
we
you eat a
talking
raccoon,
about?
SK?
Eating raccoons?
I don't think it would taste good.
You never know.
Probably not.
I don't think it would taste good either.
If you, oh wait, guys, check this out. Oh.
Wow.
Way
Yo!
huge.
So cute.
Wait, is my extra curl thing on the left or the right of my face? I'm trying to figure out if
left
I'm
side.
mirrored to you.
No, right side. Right side. Like
Right
left.
side?
If you're facing you, it's left. Like from your POV, it's left. But from
From
our
my
POV, it's
POV,
right.
That's right. I think we short-wired her.
Yeah. So like
I'm
right side for
confused.
us.
Okay. So I am mirrored. I'm mirrored. Okay.
Okay. You look cute either way, SK. I'll just alleviate any fears.
Yay!
Mildly cute. Let's not go overboard.
Whoa.
That's
Gotta keep the
interesting.
ego in check. Holy
That-
shit.
Hey, listen, bro. You know
that's
that's
interesting.
a
For
Marvel
someone
Rivals
who's,
ego.
interesting for someone who's trying to like hop off SK to get a Pokimane trio.
Yeah. What the
I wouldn't
hell?
be
You
insulting
didn't
her if
even
I was
ask
you.
me. You were just like,
Listen, if I told you
play
we're
with me
gonna
in
trio,
SK.
if I asked you, the answer would always be yes. So what's the point of asking?
That's true.
Yeah.
But he knew Pokimane's answer wouldn't be yes without
Yeah.
SK. So
I
Exactly.
feel like I missed an arc here.
Yeah, I
Oh,
I
Go
replied to Pokimane and I said, "Hello, Pokimane. I would like to inquire for a potential triple stack with SK. Would you be down?" And she said, "Only if SK is involved." And she replied,
No, what? You
"Look, I'll read
Yeah,
the
I
tweet
respect it.
exactly word for word, word for
oh
word.
my
The
gosh.
tweet was." Hello, Pokimane. Would you ever be interested in playing Marvel Rivals with me and SK? Thank you for your consideration. And then Pokimane replied, if SK is there, I'm there.
the power of the SK, man. Your Riz has gotten stronger
Wow.
somehow. SK, it's gotten stronger.
The power of having absolutely zero.
It
It's
loops.
so negative that it becomes positive.
It loops.
You
Now I
should
need
write
to-
a book. You should write a book on
respect it.
that. How to pick up women online.
Oh no.
I think there's enough books on that, probably.
That's true.
Not
But this
enough,
one
not
would
enough.
actually come from someone who knows what they're doing.
True.
Someone who's
I don't
actually
know what I'm
successful.
doing.
Okay, that's true. Those are two different things. But you are successful, whether you know what you're
Wait.
doing or not.
Do you want to hear a story?
Yeah.
I was on Tinder talking to a
Mhm.
lady, and
Mhm.
I was like, she was like, I'm so bored. I'm at work right now. This sucks. And I was like, oh, where do you work? And she said, a barbecue restaurant. And I said, they call me Evelyn Barbecue because I like barbecue. I'm sorry. No one actually calls me that. Do you like sloths? And it
That
worked.
100% worked. Yeah, I was gonna say that 100% worked. No chance that doesn't work.
You like slots.
SK got that socially maladjusted Riz.
Hey, listen, that's how you know who's worth dating. If they find it funny, that's the person right there.
True.
Very true.
Anyways, where is Necros?
I don't know. You
Where is
tell him.
Where's
You
Necros?
DM
Survey?
him.
I
You
DM'd
DM
him. I'm gonna
Is
go
he
to your stream.
live?
He might be in a rank
Yeah.
game
He's
because
live.
he's stupid.
Yes,
At
highly
Necros.
likely.
Oh, he's eating.
Oh, eating BRB 5 minutes. Okay, we'll allow him sustenance. That's fair.
I wouldn't.
Oh, I need to eat too.
I need to eat too. Can we all take a 15-minute
Yeah,
break?
go grab a snack
No,
real quick.
I already ordered food.
Get a protein
I'm
bar.
waiting.
What'd you grab?
I just need to warm it up.
I got a salad and a thing that doesn't exist in America. It's called sarma.
Okay, I'll be right back.
I
Hey,
think
Sarma?
salad
It's
also don't exist.
sarma. I saw it
Ow.
at TwitchCon actually, but I don't know how it's called in English. But
Yeah, I
it's,
wasn't born yesterday. You say it's called Sugma? Man, you ain't getting me, brother. I wasn't born fucking yesterday.
No, I didn't say sugma. I said sarma. Okay, so it's sarma, and it's a. What is he looking at?
You said the same thing twice.
I said sarma, not
There's a-
Oh,
sarma.
there's a-
Surma. Okay,
Yeah,
There's a
Surma.
European
Okay.
subtlety to it. There's a
I feel like he was
I
gonna
thought you hit
stab
me like
He
you
was
like I didn't say Sugma. I said Sugma. Come on now, and it just moved on. I'm like, nah.
I feel like he was gonna stab me. He was like,
peak gaslighting. It's like I didn't say
It's-
Sugma. I said
it's-
Sugma.
it's rice and sometimes meat, depending on what kind you do, and in a cabbage leaf or leaf from grapes. A grape leaf,
Mm-hmm.
and then you
Sure.
put it like this, and then I think they put it in the oven. Anyways, it's good.
Oh.
Not sugma.
Sadly,
I'm just laughing because it looks like SK just went to sleep. It's
yeah. SK died and went to heaven. But that's the face someone has in like an animated movie when they're like, "Go on without me," and they're like, I'll live in peace, and then
Yeah.
just go.
moved on.
Monkey. she looks so funny. She's like this.
We should all do that when SK comes back. We should all just be like this, and then she'll be very confused.
Podcast ended.
Yeah. Podcast
And then
said
imagine the
it's
people
actually nap time.
tuning into the podcast. It's nap time, guys.
I love a good nap time, actually.
How's life outside of streaming, Flatsy? You settled into your house now? Because I know you had some issues going on.
The house stuff got a little complicated, so I ended up playing hardball with them. I mean, I'll be completely honest. They're a little bit greedy. They just like they wanted more money, even though like the offer was really, really good. And so, now it's like, I was like, all right, we'll see what happens after
Hello,
the holidays.
Oh my god, it's
Hello.
him.
They're
guys.
just-
I'm
don't have
sorry,
anything.
I had to eat. I was really hungry. My quick play game took like 15 minutes, so I was a bit behind schedule, but I'm here now.
It's all
Did I
good.
miss
I'll
anything?
never forgive you.
Oh my
You
god,
You
please
disgust
forgive me.
me.
SK died. That's what you missed. You can see
SK
she's
did
gone to
die.
heaven.
SK's kill.
Where were you when SK was killed? I
So,
was trying to
me.
explain Sarma to them, and then Flats was saying that I was saying Sugma.
Your Flats wasn't buying it.
Necros. He's out.
What? What? Are you talking to me? What would you say?
You do
We're
know
off
what
to a great
Sarma is,
start.
right?
Sugma?
what's-
Oh, no, I have no idea. What does Sugma mean? What does it mean?
Oh no. Here we go again.
No idea. Never heard about Sugma.
This couldn't go any better.
I quit. At once.
I'm just setting him up. I'm a homie.
No, I know. I was just
But
trying to have
he's not gonna do
friendly.
it to me.
I was trying to have friendly conversation with my dear friends. You keep talking about Sugma.
How was your New Year as well, Boger? Because you were in the UK, right?
Was in Liverpool. Got stabbed 37 times, but I lived.
This below
Yeah.
average for being in Liverpool.
No, Liverpool was nice. I liked it.
Yeah,
I
it
liked
is.
it
It's
more
very
than
neat.
London.
I hear it's a nice place. Yeah, I hear it's a nice place. I've never been, but
They do love the Beatles.
they fucking love the Beatles.
They
Beatles
love
and
the
football. That's kind of the entirety of
Yeah.
Liverpool.
It was great. And people were really nice.
So I've heard.
Yeah.
Sad we didn't get to do our tradition
No, we didn't. But it's okay. Next year.
next
What's the
year.
tradition?
Next year, celebrating New Year's together.
Yeah, he's done it for 2 years in a row. He'd come to the UK and we'd hang out in London, but this year he went to Liverpool instead.
Too much London.
Wait, isn't like the entirety of the UK like an hour drive?
Not quite. It's not far, but like 4 hours to to Liverpool basically from where I live.
Oh.
But I had relatives of my own coming, so I
Yeah.
had to be with them.
4 is like the limit. Like it was like 2, it's like you can make that work. Like 3, you're pushing it. 4, okay, I'm staying home, buddy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, exactly. I would have, especially because it's like for just driving there and back for like New Year's night. So it was like
We keep trading
4
people.
hours would be a bit much.
I just watched SK
Yeah.
resurrect and then Necros disappeared.
like,
like I
wait,
Maybe it's
SK
the same
back?
person.
We're
Hello.
doing the SK.
Hey, you're like this.
This is what you were left as when you were gone.
Yes, exactly.
I'm back.
Welcome back. Did you get
I
your
can also
snack?
get large. Wait.
Really? Oh no.
I was just relaunching his admin. I'm back.
That is.
I'm
you
sorry,
should-
I-
you should
listen,
sit
I
like
just-
this.
Hi, Necros.
What?
I can do the same.
Oh god.
Whoa. Big
Can we do the
vulgar.
pod-
mine doesn't have zoom like that, so I kind of have to like
Just have to go get up real close. Everybody's hyper zoom podcast, and then Necros' avatar just tiny.
Yeah,
Spider Man.
it's just Spider-Man. I'm Spider-Man. Hello.
Greetings. Are you ready,
Spider-Man.
everybody? Are you
Wait,
ready
how
to
do
Oh,
get
I-
going?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is
SK, you
Boger
here?
mentally ready
Oh.
after playing 18 hours of ranked tomorrow? Oh, yesterday? You guys know he did that, right? You just played 18 hours straight of ranked.
17
fucking cooked.
actually.
How many?
I am very cooked. I am actually
Look at
extremely
him.
cooked, but my body
Yeah,
might be
I
cooked, but
figured
my
you-
mind is peak
things
condition.
in 10 months, dude.
Nice. So yeah, Boger, you're ready. Flats, you good?
Yeah, I would say I'm good.
SK,
I need 1 minute.
take your minute.
I'm
take
putting
your minute.
everyone's names in the right spot.
Do
Yeah,
I
the
need
classic.
to write people's names?
The
You
classic.
should.
But everyone
You
knows.
should.
Everyone knows us.
Everyone knows that guy, that Boger guy. They might be confused by the Spider-Man icon. To be fair,
I'm putting my name.
Yeah.
I'm putting my. Nobody knows SK.
I need to
No one
invest in
knows
some
SK
like
on SK
fucking
stream.
VTube avatar
you
type of thing.
should. What would you do for your VTube?
It would probably. I mean, I have to be Spider-Man, right?
But then you
Probably.
get sued and.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. We have to, it would be Arachnid Guy.
Legally
Fine, right?
distinct
You're-
arachnid guy.
Arachnid guy.
I'm
I'm
down with
almost
that.
done.
You get away with
I
that.
just need to put Bogers.
Just put like a
No.
little bit of like Genji in him, and then it's like
Yeah.
allowed
the
to be
hist-
copyright. And then yeah, the real ones will know. Booger, what's that in your like? How many games is that? Is that games or is that manga in your background?
That's manga.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What do
He's
you
a
got
nerd.
in there?
I have Vagabond, Akira, Berserk, Gans, Homunculus, Chainsaw Man, Fire Punch, Goodbye Pun Pun.
You
Oh,
got all
this
the
guy's a
hipster
nerd.
ones. He got all the hipster ones.
I also have normal
Um,
books as well.
Oh yeah.
Hearthstone,
You
I
actually
think
do
it's your
read
one, by the
You
way.
actually can read.
I think
Oh,
of
I
Or you
the
pretend
Prime.
to.
I
Also, I
pretend
think
to
the Prime.
hmm
Yeah,
You just stare at them. You're like, look at the diagrams.
that would be nice if I could read.
Put that to use.
Yeah, fortunately,
Okay, I'm ready. But I'm eating
Real.
French toast. So you're gonna see my mouth go like.
that's great.
That's awesome. I'm here for that, to be honest.
You should have said nothing and then just like
We just see SK like a fish,
just munching.
Like a fish.
just breathing. Okay, we good then? Let's do it. All right, guys.
right.
Welcome for another episode after a long time of the Group Up podcast. We're here for the great Rivals debate. And it has been a while since we left you, but I brought pretty much the stacked lineups I could bring to discuss the newest gaming sensation that is Marvel Rivals. Let me introduce my guests who need no introduction, and we will get right into it. In the top right is my man Flats. Flats, what's up?
Hello, it's been a while. I took a little break for a bit, and I'm glad to be back.
Glad to have you back. Glad to be
I'm
back,
back.
myself. It's been a long break. I've started getting comments on my older podcast episodes like, "When's the next episode, SCB? Why aren't you done a great rivals debate?" So here you go, commenters. You finally got what you wanted. In the top left, mogging as you probably will for the majority of the stream when he's not talking, especially, is Boger. Boger, what's up?
Hello. I play Marvel Rivals. I play
17
Strange.
hours apparently yesterday.
17 hours with Doki. I have addiction, and this is our, what was it? Marvel Rivals Addicts Anonymous.
Mm.
We're talking about our addictions.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see if we can get you to kick it. But in the bottom right, with the Spider-Man icon, you'll see him
Mhm.
light up occasionally on the stream. Is Necros? Necros, what's up?
Not that I'm feeling pretty good about this, man. I mean, I don't know. I've just been like super addicted to the game. I was actually checking the other day how many hours I had streamed this month, and it was around like 300 and something.
There's a slight caveat there.
Well, okay. I mean, without
Actually rolled.
this, you know what? Without that, it would probably be over 200 still.
SK, tell him how
Definitely.
many hours you have honest. Honest work hours.
266.
266.
266.
I'm like 258.
I
or
have to
something.
be close to that. I have to be close.
It's
Well,
bad.
if you wanted authoritative opinions, here's some people who've no lifed Marvel Rifles for about a month straight. So
Yep.
let's
That's
round
us.
out. By the way, in the bottom left, SK. SK, what's up?
Hi, I'm eating French toast right now.
Mm-hmm. Is it purple by any chance? Because that's I feel like that would fit the aesthetic.
No, it's cinnamon.
As long as it tastes good.
Mm.
As long as it makes you happy. Okay. Well, it has been a while since I spoke to any of you, certainly about gaming topics. So as we always do on this podcast, we'll begin
Did you
with
introduce
just
Flats?
yeah, he was
Mhm.
first.
Oh, okay. I forgot.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
It's
I already
a-
forgot
definitely
about
quick
you.
from yesterday.
I was
You're
making
definitely
sure, Flats, that you were introduced and not being ignored. That is-
You're a good friend, and I appreciate you. Just don't ever forget me again.
That was vaguely threatening, but yeah, fair enough.
Package
Um,
from Flats, United States package. I'm like,
Don't
what
forget
is this?
So, as we always do, we'll begin with just some opening thoughts, your general feelings. So, guys, yeah, I don't think I've ever asked you this question before, but your general feelings on Marvel Rivals, so that Boger cannot forget him. We'll have Flats go first again. Flats, what are your general feelings on Marvel Rivals? Give me a minute's breakdown.
Oh, minute. That's gonna be hard. Okay,
A
speed
minute
run.
or less. Minute or less.
I mean, the game is phenomenal. It's amazing that we are a month in, and the game has, at least like meta-wise, has changed like 4 or 5 times. There's constantly new techs, new things being discovered. Characters that everyone thought was really bad the first week end up being found out like pretty good. And then like every week since then, it seems like a new one. Like my prediction is Captain America is going to be the next one that people figure out that's actually low key, like pretty good. Just people haven't figured out how to play them yet. And it's just like almost like there's always more to explore. There's more to do. And we're not even at season 1 yet. We're just 4 more characters. It is both an amazing experience, but also kind of stings a little to see this game have all these amazing features and all these amazing things that I know that myself and many others asked for in Overwatch for years and always got given the runaround on can't be done or it take too long or whatever. And it's all there and it all works and it's all good. And I'm just enjoying the ride for right now.
I mean, Flats already. That's a really great summary, by the way. Thank you for that. He's already put a pin in the elephant in the room. Is that we'll eventually, as we are all Overwatch originators or originally Overwatch streamers, we'll have to get to that part of the inevitable discussion at some point. But Boger, how about you? How have you felt about Marvel Rivals gaming?
It's good. It's fun. Slightly buggy sometimes, and the voice chat needs work. But I think the game is really fun to play. I think the fact that it maintains like 90% of its player base 1 month in is really cool, actually. It means a lot. And I think the characters themselves, depending what character you play, they have so much you can learn, and there's still things people are learning even at 1 month in. It's just so cool to just sit there and one trick. Because if I play tank, right? I play tank, and I learned Strange really well. If I'm bored from Strange, I can sit and grind Groot, and Groot has so many different things you can learn. Or I can go learn Black Panther or Spider-Man, and there's like infinite potential to just keep having fun. And it was cool. And like Flat said, I think the fact that they did so many things that we asked for in Overwatch, and they did it immediately, says a lot. So I'm pretty happy, pretty excited. And I can play this game for 17 hours straight without have. I mean, I did have a mental breakdown, but without getting severely bored. So I think that says something.
When it comes to you, Bogra, I think the mental breakdown is not really a control variable because it's just like that's happening everywhere. You know, like you're doing that when you're playing Life Weaver, you're doing that when you're playing Junkrat. I think that's just
Yep, but it's
regardless of
different
a game
times of
state.
mental breakdown because I'm having fun with this mental breakdown, but I was not having fun playing Junkrat, right? So you see the differences here.
That's progress. That's progress. At least you're having
Yes.
fun while you're breaking
I feel
down.
like a recovering addict.
Probably will never recover. But in the bottom right is another recovering addict, so Necros. How have you felt overall from Marvel
Honestly,
Rivals?
ever since I got to try it in the alpha, like when I first tried the game, I was like, whatever. I'm like kind of bored of Overwatch. Let me just try this game. I honestly didn't expect to like it as much as I ended up liking it, and pretty much after that, I was just like super super hooked. But yeah, overall, I mean, I think the game is like really fun. I think it feels super polished. Maybe sometimes a little bit buggy. Some few things need to be ironed out, as Boger said, right? But overall, like I knew when I first played it, I knew this is not another Paladin. This is another Overwatch, you know, in terms of like polish, right? And it really does sort of like just the way the characters play, it sort of gives me that early Overwatch 1 excitement where people were kind of like hyped to like combo stuff, you know, like I don't know, grab, dragon, all that sort of stuff. Like it's all sort of like it's so fun to like theory craft about the game, right? And I don't know, I just think it's really fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sentiment is one I've seen a lot online, and I think we'll dedicate more time to that. But I think you've already brought up a good topic there about
Mhm.
it's brought hype that I haven't seen in gaming for a while. Because there's been other games, and we'll talk about them as well. But like Deadlock, for example, all of you played that, I know.
Yeah.
But it seems like Marvel Rivals is here to stay. SK, how's your toast,
Hello.
and how's your feelings on Marvel Rivals?
I stopped eating because I got self-conscious that my mouth was moving. Marvel Rivals, I'm so addicted. The reason I have 266 hours in the last 30 days streaming is not because I'm on the grind for streaming. It's because I'd be playing 266 hours even without streaming, so I might as well click the start button. Um, um, During the alpha and beta, I actually did not have fun at all. I played it for like 6 hours and I was like, all right, this is fine. But all the
I
new
remember that
characters,
actually. I remember that you DM'd me
yeah.
about it, and you were like, "I
I
know
was
if I
like,
want to play Marvel Rivals," and I was like, "Give it some time."
I don't know. I think it was the characters. The new characters that came out just like did it for me. They're so fun, and I play all of them. They're so freaking cool. And then what else? I still feel like people haven't figured out the game yet, and I'm wondering how long it's gonna last before we optimize the fun out of it, or if that'll ever happen. Because oh my gosh, I'm already playing against some really annoying things in ranked, like triple support, everything's unkillable, infinite supportals. I'm going crazy. Um, yeah, that's all I got.
No, again, you're bringing up a good point that we'll definitely dwell on later. It's the charming period, around the honeymoon period, it's the fun period. We'll have to see how that lasts and how that progresses. But yeah, let's transition then into that discussion of like the wider gaming ecosystem, because a few of you've already mentioned that like the feel of it has been one that you haven't really felt in a while, like that it captures some sort of excitement that maybe we haven't seen since, at least we personally might not have seen since early Overwatch 1. So my question to you is why? Why does Marvel Rivals seem to stand out as somehow different than some of these other competitors? Like I said, Deadlock is another one that people were hyped about, but now it feels like all of a sudden the sort of the train has hopped off onto Marvel Rivals, and it seems to be here to stay. So why Rivals? I'm going to go to Boger first this time. Boger, why has Rivals created some sort of secret sauce, or has it? Is it a false dawn?
So the characters are really popular outside of the franchise itself, so Marvel Rivals itself. So everybody knows Spider-Man, everybody knows all these characters, and people just want to play them, and they're really excited to play as Spider-Man. And for example, Doctor Strange, Captain America, whatever else. Second of all, I think the game is a lot more accessible than Deadlock. Deadlock, you need to learn, like you need to read a 1,000-page guide to actually understand the basics. That's not fun for a single father of 5 that came back from the oil rig. And Marvel Rivals, you just go in, you play Jeff the Land Shark, you hit 5-man ode, spit them out of the map or jump off, and instant dopamine. Awesome. I love it, right? Press ult on Psylocke, you kill 5. Awesome. Love it. So that is fun. And all of the characters are really hot and pretty. That is also another
Thanks for
factor.
saying that.
It is 100% a factor. It is 2000% a factor. It's just nice to look at. The art style is nice. The characters are pretty. They're hot. They're handsome. They're muscly. Whatever else, and people like that, and that's why games like League also are really popular. If the characters in League were 50% less attractive, I feel like League wouldn't be as popular. I said it.
There's some
Same
stats for
with
Bogger. 50%. Yes,
50% straight. I calculated.
He did the maths on this one. SK, go ahead. You said you were going to say the same thing, that the characters are hot.
Oh yeah, the characters are really hot. Um, I
Do you think that
I wasn't.
contributes to the popularity?
Oh, for sure. I wasn't planning on playing at all until I saw the
Um,
clip of Necros being like, "What?" When
it's your
Psylocke
fault,
came
I know
Necros.
what
out.
It's
you're
your
talking
fault.
about.
It's your fault.
Uh-huh.
It's your fault.
I mean, in my defense, what was that zoom in? They knew what they were doing, right? There's no way it would zoom at that exact angle, right? Like, come on.
Yeah.
They knew what they were
Um,
doing. Man.
For context,
Yeah,
there was a
unironically.
clip of the Psylocke Vengeance skin with her butt, and when the game starts, she turns around and the camera zooms in on her butt. Um, yeah. But other than that,
So,
I don't know. The game just has some secret sauce. Like, I cannot get enough of this game. It is so fun. There's so much to learn and so much to figure out.
so comparing it to, because you put out some great Deadlock content, SK, and you streamed it a lot and you grinded it a
Mm.
lot. So like compared to, let's say, Deadlock or obviously Overwatch, what is different compared to those? Boger already mentioned that maybe Deadlock is a bit more complicated.
Be right back.
Sure.
My issue with Deadlock. Sorry, let me chew.
Chew away. She be chewing. Audio listeners, she be chewing. She be chewing.
like a
Boger's
fish.
disappeared. Flats is laughing. The
Like
fish
a
left.
fish.
It truly, that's what you could picture. A really cute purple fish, guys, with some
Okay.
like butterfly pin
Okay.
clips. Go ahead, SK.
My problem with Deadlock compared to Rivals is that it's a MOBA. You sit there and like you have to farm up. You have to farm like 50k souls. You have to have a really good game in order to get your dopamine. And if you didn't do well in the early game, you're completely useless by the end of it. And if you don't know MOBA style stuff, or you don't know how to farm, or I don't know, someone just destroys you in lane, the next 40 minutes of your life are ruined. You can't play the game. You like 1 million shot somebody, and then they turn around and they just delete you in one bullet. It's like, really brutal. But in Marvel Rivals, I can go 0-7 and then hit that power spike and kill like 15 people, you know? It's very arcadey and like instant, you know? Always something happening. You're only dead for like 10 seconds compared to a minute in Deadlock. Yeah. And I think Overwatch did have the same feeling at the very beginning, but they kind of fumbled. Everyone kind of, I don't know. It seems like everyone optimized it too hard, but at the same time, maybe that was a flaw with the game or with updates. Who knows? I'm very curious to see if Marvel Rivals will get that effect or not.
We'll have a more dedicated, in-depth section on the big comparisons to make to Overwatch. But those are
Yes.
some great points I think you've made about maybe some of these other games. They don't have the clutch factor, if you want to call it that, just that feeling of being always being able to get into the game and always being able to turn it around and have an impact. That, as you said, sometimes MOBAs don't really offer that. I'll go to Necros and then Flats. Necros, what's the secret sauce? Why is Marvel Rivals so popular?
Okay, well, it's as Boger said. I feel like the Marvel IP is just the perfect segue for like casual players to get into the game because they know these characters exist, right? And it just gives them a chance to like be those characters. And plus, I think it's because another really important part is I think the devs are just like super passionate. Like clearly they're also really big Marvel fans, and I feel like they've done such a good job at like sort of capturing what it feels like to play these characters in the actual game. And also another reason why this game sort of is doing way better than Deadlock is, in my opinion, is because Deadlock is way harder and this game is a lot more approachable for casual players. That's why they have like all those different metas at low elo. That's why Iron Fist is literally the most broken hero in the game. You know what I mean? And Scarlet Witch ult is so overpowered, and Thor ult is like the best.
It's true
ult.
though. Are you saying it's not true?
I mean, yeah, of course it is true. Iron Fist is really OP. But yeah, my point is like it's like I think it's really approachable for casual players, and all like it's the Marvel IP as well. And the game is like, yeah, as I said, is easy. And it's fun. And that's the most important part. I think this game is like there's a clear focus on the game being fun first and foremost. The balance is a bit wonky, but I think all of the characters feel super satisfying to play.
Balance
It's
is
a little bit
wonky.
more. It's
Listen.
tiny
It's
bit.
wonky, but that's why we have hero bands.
Exactly.
Hero
Exactly.
bands
That's
there
that's
were
another thing for us.
If there
Like
were no hero bands, the game would be so repetitive. I feel like.
that's true.
I
I
agree,
wouldn't.
it
I
would
wouldn't be playing
bad.
if I had
would
to.
hate it.
Exactly. If we had to play against Hawkeye and Hela every single game, it would be absolutely just unbearable, in my opinion. But yeah, that's why I think about it. Why it's so good.
So Necros brings up two great points, which I'll segue into the next section for you, Flats, which is that let's talk first about the balance, right? Because I think one thing that I've seen as a discussion point online, and in fact, I think a lot of you guys chimed in. I saw Boger kind of switch sides on this one. It was something like role lock, right? So initially there was this discussion of does Rivals need a role lock because this open queue format is a bit too like unbalanced, it's a bit too crazy, the games are too variable. And I think the same philosophy can be approached to the balance of it. It's like, do we need to fix things quicker? Does things need to be tuned? But it seems like Marvel Rivals' approach is actually we want the wackiness, we want a little bit of silliness, we don't want to sanitize it down to like a role lock. So talk to me about that. Does this actually show like a different way? Like seems like games try to be more competitive, but is this a better way to be a bit crazy?
That's such a complicated question, but also like a great question at the same time because I think, I mean, from the beginning, I am a bringer of chaos. I want to see this game do absolutely everything the opposite of the timeline we saw with Overwatch, for example, with roll queue, for example, with balancing, for example, all these things, right? And for so far, I think it's going to work because we will optimize the fun out of it so fast, and we would have with Hela Hawkeye instantly. And I think the game wouldn't have been enjoyable, and I probably wouldn't have even wanted to even play ranked very long after the first week or two. But you know, with hero bands being in the game, you can cater the experience to what you want every game by banning those heroes out. Now, every once in a while, you'll ban out other characters that, you know, are like the second level, maybe annoying. You know, you think of like your Iron Man, Hulk, maybe, or something. And it's like, well, now you're going to have to play against Hela Hawkeye. And it's like, ooh, whoa, I'm glad I don't have to play against that often. But like, you know, in small dosages, it's not too bad. But the thing that I love most is an example, like I use this as like an example when I was talking about it, is like life is kind of like playing like Detroit Become Human, but you only get to play it once. And so you don't get to see all the other options. This is like the time we get to see what would happen if like we just went with all the opposite choices. And so I want to see what happens. And so with things like roll lock, right? We saw big queue time problems with Overwatch, and like that, like real talk, people do not want to sit in queue for 10 minutes. Like I literally don't give a fuck how many times your favorite streamer tells you that they want extremely balanced matchmaking. They want to have everybody on their team on the same rank and everyone on the enemy team the same rank, and they'll sit in queue for 15 minutes and wait. Nobody wants to do that shit. Like the reason you do that is because like you play the game all day long. Most players do not want to sit there for more than like 2 minutes max. And even in high ranks, like now, like maybe not like top 10 or top 50 or anything, because I haven't been up there, but like at least in Eternal or like bottom of like top 500, it's like almost instant queue, maybe sometimes a minute. And it's great. I would much rather that experience. And even just being able to like flex and do whatever, like at any moment is kind of nice. Like, you know, you don't really need the 222, but there is a lot of 222 pilled people. Like they will scream if they don't get the 222. And so I'm sorry, it's a long-winded answer, I guess, to this question, but I think hero bands is genuinely the thing that keeps it all together. And the balance being everybody is powerful and OP in their own way works because it's great for casual players, especially. It's great for everybody because they have fun, but the thing that holds it together for the really sweaty gamers who want to play ranked all day, which are going to be most of your streamers, most of your content creators, most of your competitive gamers, is hero bands. That holds it together because in Overwatch, we would solve the meta within a week or two, and we would have done it again in Rivals. I'm 100% confident we would have figured it out within a week or two. But hero bands changed the entire game. And I'm going to leave it with this and let someone else take it. Team ups also change it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you for having a long-winded answer because it's a complicated question, as you said. So I appreciate that. There's a lot of really good points there. Let's take it to SK next. SK, is it like Flats has suggested team ups as part of it, hero bands part of it? Where do you want to go? What do you want to feedback on?
Oh, The original question was about role lock, right?
Yeah, it was just about
I
yes, exactly. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm I don't think they should add role lock. Not at all. Um, for one, the queue times will be impossible to solve. And two, you can really just run anything and win. I think maybe the only requirement you could argue is that you have to have two strategists. But even 4 DPS, two strategists, or like 4 tanks, two strategists, I can win. I've gone against a team that was running three uh oh, they're called vanguards. 3 vanguards and 3 strategists, and they were completely unkillable. It was really cool. Or you
Odysseus
get
in the
into a
22
game where
months.
everyone
Appreciate it.
plays strategists, and then you just run 3 of them. Like, why not? It's really good. It's cool. It's awesome. Um, uh, yeah,
So
you
do
have
you
to be
feel like that helps? That helps the popularity of the game is that by allowing all these options, unlike let's say going for like a role queue, people's experience is just fundamentally more fun somehow.
yeah, it adds so much variety, and it also, solves the queue time issue. Like, it really would be infinite queue times. I think Overwatch learned that, and that's what got us into the I keep on talking about Overwatch. That's what got us
That's
into the whole
okay.
5v5 or 6v6 thing, because role queue was implemented, and it introduced the impossible queue time problem.
I mean, I don't blame you for talking about Overwatch. We spent a better part of a decade trapped in that jail cell, so
Bad.
you're understandable to have the PTSD from it. Um, Necros, I'm gonna take it to you, and then Boger. What do
What
you
about rollout?
about? So the wider question is it better for the game to be unbalanced? You kind of brought this up as well, where it's like, is it better for the game to be a bit wacky, a bit unstructured, the way that my rivals did, or is it better, or is that line that Overwatch went down of like, okay, 2-2-2, we're gonna try and balance things like well. What's working?
I think it like I think it's better for the game for it to be more wacky because it's like more chaotic and more fun if everything is like just imbalanced. But as you said, okay, so in low elos, I feel like this happens less where people are just in low elos people are just playing like whatever they want, right? In high elos is where it really matters when stuff is like when stuff is like super
You can swear,
overtuned,
don't
and that's
worry.
why the hero bans help a lot. And to answer the role lock question, I feel like that also depends on who you ask. I feel like so in high elo, it matters less because I feel like most of my games are always I don't know. There's people flexing in high elo. I feel like most of the complaints for the low elo for role lock are from low elo players where they have like 6 DPS or something like that. It just doesn't happen in high elos. And I really would like to see this game not have any role lock because I feel like it limits creativity. There's obviously so many problems like queue times and creativity stuff.
Do you think it's like do you think it's an inevitable path to some extent? Like, do games have to do if they're going to be quote unquote competitive? Because presumably,
No, I don't think
go
so.
ahead.
I think it's also really like okay. It doesn't have to be only competitive. A game can be both fun and competitive. Overwatch went too far into the competitive route, and they forgot about what makes the game fun. I feel like throughout the years, they've just sort of removed all of this wacky interactions in efforts of just making the game more quote unquote competitive, right? And I didn't really like that throughout the years. Rivals has so many more nice interactions, I suppose, between the heroes.
Can I?
I'm gonna let
jump in?
Flats interject before I go to Boger. Go ahead.
I'm
Flats.
sorry, Boger. I didn't mean to jump over. I want to hear your thoughts on this, Necros. So I watched a video of do you know who his Watson is from Apex?
Maybe
He was like a pro
the
player.
name sounds familiar. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pro player. He did like he was like rank 1. There was like a bunch of challenges he did with Hal. Yeah, in Apex at the time. Basically, he came in with a video recently that talked about how Apex went from being a super competitive game to like, or it was like a casual competitive game. Then they leaned into the casual. Then they leaned into the competitive. Then they went back to the casual. And I wonder, it made me think about Overwatch a little bit. And it's like I agree with you, but also I think it's just too confusing to the average, like to the player base, where you don't know what you're getting into. And Overwatch has changed up 3 or 4 times. And I remember me and you, SVP, sitting on this podcast in 2022, talking about the best way to play Overwatch these days is a casual experience. Don't take it too serious. Just go in, play what you want, play a few hours every week. Don't go super hard. Have a good time. Overwatch changed that, and they leaned really hard into the competitive side again. And then when they started leaning into the competitive side, they pissed a lot of people off with that, but also they didn't even make the competitive players happy. Like they weren't even doing the things that made those players happy anyways. So you pissed off both groups of people, and both of them think the other one is actually the one that's getting preferential treatment, and both of them don't get shit.
Necros, I'll give you a chance to respond. Poker's patiently waiting.
Yeah, I feel like that's true. Wait, what exactly was your question? Like,
Well,
how-
I guess Flats. Go ahead, Flats. You want to summarize your
No,
thought there?
Yeah, I guess the question is like, I think that players want to know what their experience is when they're getting into a game. Are they getting into a game for a fun, just have a good time experience, or are they going into like sweat? This is going to be a super competitive game. I want to rank up. You know, like I want to take this seriously versus just having a good time with it.
And the mistake that potentially Overwatch and Apex made is that they bounce between the two too often. Like they didn't stick to one.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely a mistake to like swap between them. I mean, I don't know. I think there's like a nice sweet spot where they can make both people happy, and it's definitely like a challenge to find out this sweet spot. But I do think that it exists, and I think Rivals. Don't you guys agree that Rivals has done like a pretty good job where I feel like the game is really really fun casually, but it's also super fun competitively. I think the way they do it is good for now.
It's really early in the game. You
That's
can't
true.
blame.
Like,
Yeah.
Can I mog Boger too?
Go for it.
What did I do?
Yay! Okay, I want to say I feel like Overwatch has constantly put out patches that kind of dumb things down or reduce the skill of certain heroes, or remove interactions or cool texts, to just make it simpler. And I've seen the complete opposite with Rivals, and that makes me happy.
Do you want to for someone like myself who maybe isn't familiar with what you're saying? Like, and I can imagine the Overwatch parts, but you want to give me like some examples of what Rivals have done? Because like with Overwatch, we could say like the Genji ledge dash, for example, of a tech that got taken away, or patches that we. So what are you kind of referring to with Rivals?
It's on the tip of my tongue.
I think it's just how the heroes interact with each other. I just think it's really fun. There's like a lot of goof. Like think about like all this sort of stuff you can do with Strange Portal. I think that's like the stuff. Like it's really fun for casual players, but it's also really interesting competitively, right? That it's that sort of stuff that I'm referring to with that.
Right, because it has like a global cooldown, right? Like it's such a long, it's like minutes for this cooldown. You might not use it more than once a round, but it's like kind of wacky and it works. And also you can transfer between rounds, so you can start the next round of like a control point immediately, ulting someone. So it's uncompetitive in its nature, but it sort of gives it some sort of flavor.
Like also I have a really good example. It's that stupid thing that Boger always does with Strange Portal, where he like he flies really high and then he drops the portal on the ground, and then he uses the momentum off of that, like of him dropping into it, to ult and essentially bunny hop into the backlines. It's like the silliest thing ever, but it actually has competitive application. That sort of stuff is what I feel like Overwatch.
Part, though. It's
amazing. It's great. I guess that would be my example.
Yeah, it's off the tip of my tongue. I remember now. There's so many like Star-Lord ult in order to you can animation, like you can shoot and cancel the animation if you left click an ult at the same time, or like the Spider-Man B-hop tech, or like the Spider-Man grapple cancel to do more damage or whatever. Or I had one more.
Wolverine rocket kidnap.
Yeah,
Wolverine right? That sort of stuff. It's so fun, right?
I
love that sort
of swap off, your teammates still keep the armor packs and the jump boost. I feel like Overwatch would have patched all of this stuff out within the day or like within the week.
Right.
They patched out everything fun.
But is some of that our fault though? Because we do, like, the online community does whine about these things. Like when Sigma had his weird bug a while back.
Here's why Marvel Rival devs are based. People complained about Roadhog. They didn't budge and they said, shut up. We're not adding Roadhog. Anyways, look at this new heroes we're adding. You can't just budge every time people complain online, because we are stupid and the people playing the game are sometimes stupid and they don't understand. I feel like Marvel Rivals is so unbalanced, so weird, and so fun to play because there's so many possibilities and you can break the game in so many fun ways without it being too game breaking. And it just makes the game fun. Every match feels different. Every match you can do something silly. Like take Strange Portal, for example. Overwatch would never add something like this because you can break the game so hard and you can do so many silly things. And Overwatch doesn't like it when you can throw teammates. And it's like Lifeweaver, I thought it was really funny back in the day pulling people off the map, but they were like, no, you can't have that. Anyways, the best way I can describe Overwatch is right now it's sanitized. It's very sanitized. It's like it runs really well. It plays sometimes fun, but the amount of things that can happen are so limited, and it's just after a few hours you're just bored, right? And every fun interaction we had, Reinhardt, every time he had a fun tech, instantly removed. Genji has fun techs, instantly removed.
Mhm.
Echo had a
Yep.
fun tech where she could bunny hop when she got released, instantly removed. And like,
Lucio
why would you
Lawren
do that?
too.
It's just boring. Then you're like, people can't show off the things they've learned. Like the most you can learn in the game is like game sense, aim, positioning, and like basic concepts that you can get really good at. But like in Marvel Rivals, a Black Panther player that has put in 200 hours playing that character will decimate your backline without knowing anything else in the game. And I think that's fun. And I think it's silly. And you get people in game, you get a Storm one trick in your game, and she does something crazy and wins you the game. And you're like, what should happen? Or like a strange portal just clutches up by doing something stupid, or you get a Rocket Raccoon jump back on the Wolverine. He just jumps off the map with a tank, and that's silly. It's fun. The clip potential in Marvel Rivals is infinite. You
The
see it all
content.
the time. The content is infinite, and that's what I always said for Overwatch. Like beginning when I started playing the game, I used to take it very seriously and very competitively, but when I was much younger and much stupider to understand the intricacies of what makes a game fun. From my perspective, when I played the game competitively, I wanted it to be more competitively balanced. But now I understand that aiming to make everything balanced is going to sanitize the game and make it way less fun to play and make content from. Just like on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, anywhere on YouTube, you just see so many funny, silly videos about the most stupid things. Jarvis, clip that. Strange portals, like 90% of the time, like just doing stupid things. Like I watched somebody place a strange portal above the spawn door when they're leaving, and Spider-Man uppercut them all off the map at the beginning of the game.
I saw that too.
That
That's
is
funny.
insane. That
That's
is so
sick.
funny. That is so funny. That is so funny. And Overwatch doesn't have that. Overwatch is like you go in, you know what to expect. Always the same things happen, and then you log off, and that's it. And that's what pains me, because Overwatch in the beginning was Marvel Rivals the way it is right
Yeah.
now. It was silly and it was fun, and the game was breaking all the time, and people did funny tech, and Genji players were sitting there ruining people's lives, but it was fun.
Me. That was
Him.
me. He's talking about me.
Is
Yeah, I think all of
there-
those things were
Go ahead,
removed
Nekros.
throughout the years. Yeah, no, I was just going to say like Overwatch used to be like that. That's why this game is so like awesome. Is because it just has the things that Overwatch has that removed it throughout the years. All the silly interactions.
And do you guys think that the devs have kind of learned those lessons, like that watching Overwatch? Because is there a potential dark path that they walk down where, let's say a year from now, they do make some of these decisions to sanitize the game or remove some of these things, or people might just figure shit out, right? Like maybe that despite hero bans, despite all this, people just grind the game to a point of being boring, and then the devs are gonna have to make some decisions. Do you see like a dark timeline? I'll take it to Flats first. Flats,
I want to interject here because I've met the developers. I'm the only
Okay.
person here that has talked to them in real life, and we played
Wow,
against them.
you flex.
Yes,
What a flex.
flexing. But the reason why I'm saying it is because I had normal, like interactions with them. They're all ex-Overwatch players, or at least a lot of them played Overwatch, and a lot of them had the same, complaints as us. And I talked to them, and they were like, I feel like they're trying to make their own version of the game that is more silly and more goofy and more fun. And I do believe that inevitably, at some point in the future, we'll get to where you're saying, where the game gets boring or sanitized or figured out. But right now, it's really goofy. And I think that's fun. And I think it's cool. Anyways, Flats, you can continue.
No, I'm glad you said that because I've never thought this, but when Rivals came out, like all my comment sections were filled with this, where people were saying like, it's kind of weird. Like this game has a lot of things that like specifically I've talked about in the past, like gripes I've had with Overwatch, like things that are in this game that are fixed. And also, there was also the stream that me and Nekros did where we got to play a lot of a couple of the characters early and get to show them off, and it was a good time. And like I've never got to speak to the devs. I'm not like in any program. I'm not in any creator program. I'm in no Discords, anything like that. Like when I did that, it was like strictly through my agency. So I've never spoken to them my entire life. But even through that, we had literally the funniest interactions. Like they were just a good time where I had this this actual beef with player 6 where we would literally drop everything we were doing to go to the corner of the map and 1v1 and fight every time. And it was peak hilarity. But my comment section was all filled with like, that's really weird, Flats. Do you notice that, like there's a lot of things in this game like that you've wanted for years? And it's like, I wonder, like, and like, I'm not saying this. I'm just reiterating things that I read, but I did reflect on it and think about it. I never came to a conclusion on anything, but just I thought about it, where it's like, I wonder if they've just been sitting watching all of us for years make content and talk about things about the game, things we didn't like or things that we wanted, and we're like, got ahead of the curve, because this game does have a lot of similarities. And when you have a game that you can look at and be like, hey, this game did a lot of great things, but it also had a lot of fuck ups, it can be a warning to your future, where if you're not careful, you could go down the same path. And so I like that they stick to their guns, like Boger said before, because whether you like a decision or not, I will always respect somebody who comes into the room and says, I disagree with you because X, Y, Z. And it's like, okay, you either got good points there, and it's like, you know what, we're gonna have to agree to disagree, or it's like, I just disagree with you because of these reasons. And it's like, if they truly believe that they're doing the right thing and they stick to that and they stick to their game plan, I can always respect that more than anything else. Because I mean, Boger makes a good point. Sometimes Overwatch was a little reactionary sometimes. Honestly, I wouldn't even blame them for that. I think they had to be reactionary because of what has happened to that company over the last few years and what they've done. So I don't even fault them for that. But I have hope that Rivals will be just fine.
I guess the point that is important is like you got to stick on the right issues, and that kind of is the secret sauce, I suppose, of making a good game. Is that lots of game developers will stick on an issue. Like famously, Jeff Kaplan stuck on anti-hero bans, right? Like Jeff was very much like no, there will be no hero bans, and that's my call, and fuck you guys. I had that conversation with him where he's like, fuck you guys, you don't know what you're talking about when you say you want hero bans. And now we've seen a set of developers be like, no, actually, we really believe in open queue. We really believe in hero bans, no matter what you guys are saying. And they stuck with it, and that decision turned out to be correct. But I guess, again, I'm not trying to be negative, but I do want to bring up potential downfalls and earmark them. And I'll take it either SK or Necros, either of you guys, if you have anything to add on. Is there a dark timeline where they make a decision like this, where they stick on something and they're like, no, you guys are wrong. We think this is good for the game, and actually we're gonna be yelling at the clouds like, why didn't you listen to us?
Sorry. I want to say it's inevitable that they're gonna mess up. That just happens. But I wonder whether they will walk back on the mess up, because I think the biggest issue with Overwatch is whenever they put out something that was bad, they would never, ever, ever in a million years revert the change that they put out. Instead they would try and figure out a way to fix it, but they would never just undo it.
So you
I
think
think they got better
to...
towards the last year though. I think they
Yeah,
made
in
a lot of
Overwatch
stupid.
2 for sure. In Overwatch 2 for sure. But in Overwatch 1,
Yeah.
oh no, never, never, never.
So you think that it's going to come down to when these devs have this moment, they're going to have to walk it back, be willing to walk it back, and actually quickly realize their mistake.
Yeah, or I don't know, or figure out a way to fix it. Instead of being, you guys just need to figure it out.
Oh, wow, that one hurts.
That was a great impression, honestly. Necros, how about you? You were saying something.
Well, I definitely want to say that I think this game, like the way, like some of the features in the game, it definitely feels like it was just made by a bunch of like pissed off Overwatch players. Like a lot of the things in the game do feel that way. But do I think the game is gonna go down a dark path? I think so, but I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but I like the fact that the devs are just super confident when it comes to like realizing their plan, right? It sort of instills a sense of hope in me that they know that they're doing the right thing, and I believe in them. Like if they believe in them system and the game is working really well, then I believe in the devs. I believe that they are going to cook.
That's good. I mean, that's
I think-
it's good.
I
Go
think
ahead, Rory.
we'll see how much they cook with the season 1 balance changes. When that one comes out, that's
yeah, that's
when we
gonna be a big
know.
one.
That's when 1,000 buffs to Hela and Hawkeye, 1,000,000 nerfs to Spider-Man.
Oh no.
10 million buffs to Wolverine.
Make SK able to play Psylocke whenever she wants to.
Well, hero bands will keep that one in check.
Oh,
So let's move on then, because we obviously we can't escape talking about Overwatch, right? It's what we know, and I think it's relevant in a discussion about a game that's clearly so heavily influenced by Overwatch. So we do bring that comparison point in. There's a few, you guys have already alluded to it, but there was a few big picture decisions that they went the other
Thanks,
way
Ian.
with Overwatch,
Appreciate
right?
the
We
performance.
kind of
Tony,
already
thank you,
alluded
performance.
to them, but 6v6, open queue, hero bans. Having played them all in Marvel Rivals now, do you kind of reflect on them differently? Like, which do you think were the right calls, and which do you think are actually didn't matter? Like, let's say you think, actually, I don't really care if it was 6v6 or 5v5. It's actually just the other things that made it work. Like, which points do you think were good, and which points do you think were bad? I'll take it to Boger first.
About Overwatch in general?
About
like,
let's say these three major decisions, right? Hero ban, 6v6, and open queue. Like, which were good decisions, and which were bad decisions? Between rivals in Overwatch, like what do you
think-
reflect on?
Back in the day, I was a really big supporter of Roku because the same reasons why people want Roku and Marvel Rivals. It was just really annoying dealing with having no supports or no DPS. There were so many games, even in high elo, where we'd have like 5 tank players. I'm like, oh my
Yep.
god, bro, we just lose this game. And all of the tank players would be amazing in the game, but like nobody could play DPS or anything or supports, and we would be at a disadvantage. So that kind of sucked. But I think, now that I think about it, those times with Roku and like it being added to the game, I think it severely diminished how silly the games could be and how fun they could be. Because I think it's hard to explain, but the potential for fun with no Roku, the ceiling is much higher, and the lows are much lower without having Roku, like with open queue. And oh, I'm getting a call. I'll be right back.
Busy
Sorry,
man,
guys.
busy man,
Yes.
businessman. Oh, it's just food. Okay. Flats. How about
Oh.
you?
Okay. Sorry, I was so interested in its thoughts that now I'm like, okay, all right. All right. Let's start with what was the three of them? What roll queue?
6v6 roll queue and hero bans.
Okay, let's start with roll queue. Let's not get it twisted. Overwatch needed roll queue. Roll queue is what held the game
Agreed.
together, because at the time, unfortunately, people forget, Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2 have legitimately, fundamentally different dev teams. Like, I bet there's probably less than 40 people that were from the original Overwatch team that still work there. And I mean, I don't even know how many people they have on the team these days. But the reason why we needed roll queue was, one, we were in GOATS at that time, but we had just come out of Moth meta for like about a year, right? Which, like, everybody loved Dive, right? Everyone loved Dive. It was fun. But what people don't remember is if you didn't have a Mercy on your team, you lost the game. Period. Point blank. So if you
had
loaded into
over
a game,
100% pick rate.
yeah,
Over
yes.
100.
Yeah. If you did not have a Mercy, you lost the game at the spawn room. So nobody wanted to play Mercy. Mercy was boring. So you'd always have people social pressuring each other to play this really broken character. You had to play the character. If you don't have the character, you just lose the game. Hero bans would have solved that. Going into GOATS meta, Brig was designed to give support players something new, something fresh after getting feasted on by Tracers for the last year, and Genji's the year before that in 2016. And Jeff was stubborn. He believed that the game will figure itself out and players will figure out the meta and they'll get good. That's why it took 2 years in, like, where was the one time Sam's not here to not ask him how many Brig nerfs there was. I'm sure he's
14 or something.
he's probably streaming right now. He just went 21. Why the fuck did I just say 21? Like just like out of, like something in the void just spoke to him.
He just pauses his game and he's like, "Wait, guys,
Yeah.
I need to say something."
Yeah. And it's like, because they were slow. Like they were slow with their patches. It took like once every 3 to 6 months and it wouldn't be enough. And so they didn't know what to do. And they would buff things like Reaper to try to deal with it because Reaper was the tank buster. Rivals, Wolverine is the tank buster. And it's so genius that he does percentage-based damage based off your health. So he kills a squishy as fast as he kills a tank. And in Overwatch, when they buffed Reaper super hard, he was just steamrolling all the metal ranks. And so one day there was a Reaper nerf, and everyone was like, "Why the fuck did Reaper get nerfed? Reaper's not even good." And I remember that patch, and everyone was just confused. And it was because Reaper was like dominating all of the metal ranks at the time. Rivals kind of thought about that with Wolverine a little bit. So I think that OpenQ works in this game a little bit more because at the moment, it's still early. Even if a character is a must pick, absolutely giga broken, or else we're going to get screwed, we need this character, you can ban him if you don't have someone on your team that plays it at the start screen. Because at the start screen, everyone hovers what they want to play. And if they don't hover it, well, then like you probably just end up banning it anyways. Because like if I load into a game and I don't have a Lord Portrait Hela, I'm banning Hela. If I don't have a Lord Portrait Hawkeye, I'm banning Hawkeye, right? If I load into a game and I have a Lord Portrait Iron Man, well, we're playing Hulk Iron Man. I'm down to go, you know? So it's like you kind of, and that's another thing. The Lord Portrait's like, I know it's such a small thing. It's something to work for as a casual player, but even in the competitively, it kind of works. Because you're like, ooh, that guy plays a lot of that character. Like, he's probably pretty good at it. You know, he's got to this rank, has that. Hey, I trust that guy. So OpenQ, fine. Hero bans, literally is going to keep the whole game together. Without hero bans, I think Rivals would have just already kind of fallen off a bit competitively. 6v6 doesn't fucking matter if it was 6v6 or 5v5. The same problem would happen if we're talking Overwatch. Fucking, it's the queue times. It's the queue times more than anything. And I don't want to really, I did a little bit, I went back and played the 6v6 playtest. And like, I just wanted to play Rivals the entire time. But I gave it a good shot. And I genuinely thought the game felt better with 2 tanks. It genuinely did. I thought it felt much better. But it doesn't matter because you're going to sit in queue for 10, 15 minutes if you're in DPS. And it's like, that will kill it faster than anything else. So it's like, you have your smallest percentage of players, which are tank players, in every game. Same thing is true in Rivals, by the way. Rivals doesn't have an abundance of tank players. So it's like, there's not all these magic spawning tank players. And people will always say like, oh, you got to make more fun tanks and make more tanks. Doesn't solve it. It just doesn't. The thing that solved the support problem in Overwatch was they changed the way support plays. It's more active. It's more DPS-y. So it's like you can play DPS and heal at the same time. Rivals, you can kind of do that too, which is why like it's more fun. But actually, like if you actually like more play like the super support, like healing style in Rivals, you actually, I think it's better than the DPS style. Like that's like my kind of like little controversial take so far is I think it's actually better to be like more heal body than doing damage on support at the moment. If you have a good team, like good tanks and stuff. But regardless, though, that doesn't matter how many players. I think if Rivals was 5v5 or 6v6 or Overwatch was 5v5, 6v6 doesn't matter. The open queue stuff, we needed role queue in Overwatch 1. And hero bans, I think hero bans is literally the secret sauce.
Can
Very
I talk?
interesting.
Also,
Well,
first,
well, I'm actually going to interrupt
No.
you. Sorry, Bogger. You eat your food.
Can
Because you had a
no,
little
I'm
bit.
not gonna eat. I'm not gonna eat it. But I just wanted to show
'Cause
what the food is to Flats.
Yeah, go ahead. Show the food. Because you had a little bit of say.
Oh,
Flats
it's
a little
not
bit of say. We hear
Sugma.
from SK and Necros.
It's sarma.
What's that?
That actually does look good.
It's
I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
it's
that
with
looks
cabbage
really
leaf.
good.
Nice.
No, I just
Oh.
wanted to say one thing, and that
Uh-huh.
I think it's less about the big changes, whether or not they're good or bad. I think is that they keep changing the fundamentals of the game so often that the people that fall in love with no Rollock and 6v6 and then 5v5, every time they get used to it, they change up the fundamentals, and then people are like, okay, but this is not the game I want to play, and they get a new player base, and new people play it, or some people stay, but a lot of people leave. Anyways, go ahead.
So I'm going to take it to SK. Necros, unfortunately, you don't have an avatar that lights their face up that makes me know you want to talk. So if you do want to say something, just like start flashing that Discord icon,
Yeah.
man. So I
Start
can
tapping on the
come
mic
through.
just like this. Like,
Yeah, just be like SCB, SCB. So I'm gonna take it SK first, and then you, Necro. So SK, Flats gave a great summary there. I mean, I think the point that I heard you agree on was role queue was needed. We were kind of talking about the history of Overwatch, right? And Boger was saying that maybe open queue was more fun, and when we went to role queue, we sanitized too much. But you were like, no, we needed role queue. So do you reflect on that now in Marvel Rivals as well?
Yeah, I do feel like wait, in Marvel Rivals? At
Well,
the
both.
time,
Talk about both.
uh,
Talk about both.
uh, 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 okay. In Overwatch, we definitely need to roke it. They couldn't figure out how to fix goats. 3 tanks, 3 supports, and
Okay, I'm sorry.
huh?
What do you mean
Huh?
they couldn't figure out
What
goals?
do you mean?
They could have just nerfed the characters. They always were like they're always like
Yeah,
just
but
a slight bit of nerfs, guys. A
they
little
they
bit.
could have, but they didn't, and they were
Yeah,
never going
yeah,
to.
it's true. It's true. I just
It was
like
meta for a year and a half or
it's
something.
true, and it's just so annoying because it's like they could have fixed it. Saying that they had to change everything because of goats, I think is silly. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just want to.
I think that the problem, the difference is that it feels like maybe I'm wrong, and it's been so long, so I could be wrong, but I don't feel like we could get silly with the team comms in Overwatch. Like in Marvel Rivals, you can run 3 supports, 3 DPS if you want, and still win. Like it feels good, or whatever, 1 tank, 3 DPS, whatever, feels good. But in Overwatch, it felt like if you didn't have 222, or when Ghost was meta, if you didn't have 303, then it was just over. There was no like every single game was mental torture because you had to try and convince your teammates to play a certain hero or a certain role, and if they didn't, GG. So yeah, at the
Is
time I very much wanted role queue. Like I was so excited for it.
is there a future where that happens for Marvel Rivals? Because obviously we're very early in, and Flat said kind of hero
Maybe.
bands holds it all together. But is there a future where people figure out, okay, this is the optimal thing, and then even when we ban these things, this is the thing you do. Like you have to have 3 strategists or whatever.
So maybe the pro scene right now is like 95% 222 and 5% 132. But in ranked you can run anything. So I don't know. It depends how good we get at ranked. But I mean even in Overwatch or in any game, like the pro meta is never the same as the ranked meta. In Valorant, the ranked meta is picking duelists, running it down and killing everyone. There's no team coordination. There's no double smokes, Viper, Omen, slow play, defaulting. In Overwatch, we're not running like coordinated dive. In ranked, it's just everyone's picking whatever they want. You're gonna have a Symmetra one trick. You're gonna have a Junkrat one trick.
Very good points. Necros, I'm open up to you
All
on
right.
any of this. Like whether you want to talk about like did we need role queue in Overwatch? Does it work better in Rivals for other reasons? Hero bans, 6v6. Go ahead.
I want to talk about 6v6. I think 6v6 is absolutely necessary because I feel like it's what contributes to the chaos, and chaos is extremely fun, right? I actually remember it was towards the end of Overwatch 2, like before Rivals released. I tried.
The end of
there's like
Overwatch
a
is dead. It's gone.
He said
Yeah.
it's gone.
The end of Overwatch
It's, I mean, listen, it might look. It might as well be. It might as well be. It might as well be. For me, it is anyway. For now. For now. That's not
Rest
talking
in
to any
peace.
old.
Can we get some apps for Overwatch?
Can we get some apps for Overwatch? But anyway,
2025.
so a lot of
2025.
people. Yeah, so a lot of people were very adamant about the fact that like it just wouldn't work. Like none of the Overwatch 2 maps would work in 6v6, but it felt so cool to just see them like populated with people. It just feels like I don't know, the maps just feel incredibly empty with 5 people. With 6, it feels like everything is happening everywhere. It's great, you know, it's fun, it's chaotic. And also another problem with 5v5 is I feel like it's impossible to make the tank role fun to play as and fun to play against because you end up with the raid boss tanks. Like everyone remembers that patch where you just randomly made armor. Instead of reducing with like 5 damage is like 30%. Yeah, that was not fun for anybody, right? Like it was impossible. It's just no fun to duel a tank. Whereas in the early days of Overwatch, I'll use Genji as an example because I used to play that hero. If I fought a Winston and if I just absolutely popped off, I could click his head 3 times and that dude was dead. What do you think the odds are of that happening in Overwatch 2? 0, because I have to land like 7 shots. It's just not gonna happen, right? But there was like, I really enjoyed those interactions between tanks and DPS in Overwatch 1. Like if the monkey popped off, he could like kind of bubble dance and juke me. But if I popped off, I could absolutely kill him and headshot him. And on top of that, I would get rewarded a lot because you get a lot more ult charge at the time. This is like what's sort of present in Rivals. I feel like tanks are really strong, but you can 1v1 them still. You can absolutely 1v1 them. Are you gonna win? Probably not, because they've got like really good defensive tools and they can just stall forever. But if they mess up, you can kill them, and I like that. I feel like that's what's been lost. So I really like the fact that I feel like that's impossible in 5v5.
And I guess
I'm-
open queue adds to that. Go ahead, SK Boger. One of you.
Yeah,
SK, go ahead.
I want to add to that the chaos in Marvel Rivals. It feels like fights are never won. Well, like they're won, but when someone gets a pick in Overwatch 2, everyone just runs away and sits like hides
over.
because if you fight 4v5, it is over. Like no matter what. But in Marvel Rivals, someone can die at the start of the fight and then it's still winnable. Then you kill like 3 of them and you're like 4v2 and then somehow they all come back and it's winnable for them and then you're like 2v6 and then it's somehow still winnable for you. It's just you never know who's going to win a fight. There's always a chance and I think that's really cool. That's what
Alright.
adds to the fun and the chaos.
Good point, SK. Boger, you were trying to say something as well.
I was saying that I feel like I really enjoy the way vanguards are in Marvel Rivals compared to how tanks are in Overwatch, because tanks in Overwatch 2 feel like really big DPS characters that are just there to do damage, and I don't want to play tank. I don't want to play damage. I want to play DPS. I want to. Back in the day with Reinhardt, it was all about the Rein v Rein and outplaying people. Now it's just go in the backline, swing at them, and then kill them, and fuck, it's boring.
Yeah.
Okay,
Boring.
and then on
It's so
Winston.
bad.
On Winston, it used to be, I farm the nano boost, I farm, I create space, I jump them softly. But now, jump in, kill them, and if you don't, you die, and you lose the game. And it's like, I don't want to play DPS, I want to play tank. That's why I really like Vanguards, because the Vanguards are really, like, you can kill the entire team, but for you to kill the entire team, they either first need to misplay, and you punish them. Like, tanks are really scary if you make a mistake. Or 2, you need to play really well, and that's really fun. But if you make a mistake, you get punished for it. In Overwatch, you either
Actually, good point,
explode
Crux.
instantly or nothing happens because of your mistake. It's so like, I don't know. I agree with Necros a lot. I feel like if I make a mistake and I dive a Genji with Winston, I should get punished for it. But if I dive a Genji on Winston right now, this guy needs to fight me for 30 minutes to even deal half my HP. Like, he genuinely, the only option for a Genji is to run away. And what happens is, it's less about who's better and who outplays who. It's a lot more about picking the right character and just doing the one thing it's designed for, and that's it. There's nothing to it. Like, I will play Winston, they'll go Malga. I'll swap off Winston. Like, I'll go Winston, hard focus the Genji. Genji can't do anything. And then people that actually enjoy these characters, that have a lot of skill ceiling, they can't play them because the enemy team just goes characters that are way easier and get way more value and just counter your existence. So you need to fall in line with the meta. But in Marvel Rivals, except in really high level play and pro play, Necros can still get value from a dogshit character like Spider-Man, because we can ban characters that counter him. And I can pick Venom to give him another buff, and then Necros can actually do something, and that's really cool because the character is really fun, but it's really hard to get value from.
Necros, anything you want to chime in there with
Oh no, I absolutely agree with them. It's super cool, and that's like another reason why hero bans are awesome. Is we can ban for example, we kept banning like Luna Snow because she had like the team up with Namor, and he can like spawn those icy turrets, which are just the bane of your existence.
Interject and say how stupid Luna Snow as a character is?
Go ahead.
I don't mind getting one shot by Hawkeye as much as I mind sitting AFK for 12 seconds. It is absolutely so boring. I'd rather die and respawn than sit.
Loki.
No, I
And
was
then
gonna say,
Loki-
I think it only gets bad when there's Loki. When there's Loki and it's 24 seconds, all right, that's it. I'm done.
Triple
And then you
support.
run triple
Loki,
support, you
Luna,
have a Mantis, and then it's 32.
seconds. And then by
Uh,
the time you can get them, Luna has farmed another ult. And you're like, oh my god, bro.
Yeah.
So we can see already some of the gripes emerging. I guess I wanted the thing I wanted to lead to is that I guess you can have sympathy with your Rush developers here, because it's what it sounds like. What you guys are saying is that in order to solve certain problems, they created deeper ones, right? So if we can look back at OpenQ, right? So the problem with OpenQ was these unbalanced games, right? Like you can say like, oh well, sometimes we were having one support and one DPS, one tank and 4 DPS, whatever. And so to try and solve that, they went to role queue to try, and then when role queue with queue times, they were like, okay, well, if we got to solve that, we got to remove a tank. So they remove a tank, they go 5v5. Then to 5v5, well, now the tank is getting blown up, so they buff the tank. Oh, well, now the tank, now it's fucking miserable, it's boring, nobody likes playing against tank. Flats, you're itching to say something, so do you have sympathy or not? You're like, no, fuck this.
I'm actually more annoyed. I'm actually kind of just pissed at this point, right? Because, like, dude, do you remember me and you sitting down and arguing the day it got announced that 5v5 was coming out? And it's like, you know what it is? We never did the actual easy, the solution. Everybody was like, let's try this. We always did the Blizzard fucking way. And I'll give you a good example even more recently. We talked about the hard counters and the, you know, like, if you are really good on Genji, I don't give a fuck. I can pick Winston and you just can't play the fucking game. Good luck to you. Their way of dealing with the hard counters, instead of limiting swaps or hero bans or talking about all these other things or talking about like hero design needing to change because like certain heroes just fundamentally fucking suck off the, like, they just suck right out of the gate. Like characters like Orisa, Mauga, they're just fucking terrible and they just don't admit it. And like, I used to play Siege. And there was a character that came out called Clash, and it was a defender, operator, shield, and they could just run at you and just and tase you, and there's nothing you could do about it. You died. They took them out of the game for like a year to figure out how to fix them. They never admit their fucking problems. And so you know what happened with the counters? We are all talking about how characters like Widow are just fucking annoying. Instead of dealing with the issue, we hide when you swap them for 15 seconds. And so that caused a new problem where if they swap Widow last fight, there's a fucking question mark and you're like, they swapped. What did they swap to? Somebody disappeared. And it's like, oh, hang on,
Actually,
wait a
I was
minute.
so confused about that because I was playing the game.
Why? Why did we do that instead? You know?
And then I was like, did they leave? What's going on? It was like, what is happening? I didn't know that was an option. I didn't know it was happening.
But it's like every time there's an issue or something that's a big problem, we do some fucking ass backwards way instead of going after the actual problem. And after so many years, people get sick of it, right? And I while I have the mic for a second, I'm going to hijack for like 2 seconds. There's two really unique things that are really great about Rivals. You know what's actually great about Rivals? The cart moves on its own. Because in 5v5 Overwatch, nobody pushes the fucking cart, right? It used to be the off tank's job. Right? Like you'd have your main tank hold forward, your off tank would you'd hold with them and then a support holds. That was like the true way, right? Like that's like the pro, like the high GM, like, you know, that was the way you actually are supposed to do it, right? But for most players, one tank would hold forward, one tank would hold back, and then the supports and DPS would all go high ground, they'd all stand together, right? Now there's nobody to push the thing. In Rivals, it pushes it fucking self. If nobody's on it, that thing keeps moving. And it's great. So it's like, even if nobody's pushing it, it's like, it's okay, it'll move on its own. I don't have to go back. Like, you know, if somebody wants to go back and push it a little bit faster, that's great. But even beyond that too, we're all talking about the team ups. It encourages team play. It encourages you to work together. Because in Overwatch, the reason why we had a role queue, Boger, you missed it like when SK was talking about it earlier. You only caught the back half about goats. The reason why I was saying role queue was necessary is like we just come out of Moth meta. And remember, like Moth meta was 100% pick rate. If you didn't pick Mercy, you lost the game. So people would always force you to pick Mercy. Like if you don't have Mercy, you just lose. And so that, and then into goats, you just get cooked, right? But in Rivals, though, if somebody asks you to pick another character, it's typically for a team up, and then you get a benefit too. So it's like, oh, if I pick this character, I get 15% extra damage. Oh, if I pick this character, I get a whole other ability I get to use. Like, oh, and this ability, it's actually really strong and it'll help me survive longer. It helps me get kills. And it's like, by working together, you both mutually benefit instead of one person gets screwed and they're just like taking one for the team. It's genius.
Can I just interject here? Anchors have their passive buffs always. They don't get a benefit from the team ups.
True.
Yeah, people don't know that.
Yeah, people
They're
don't
always
know
active.
that. But,
That needs to be
you
more
always have
clear.
the anchor. It's so weird that it's not clear because it says you get a buff and you're like, oh, I get a buff, we get a team up, but you always have the buff.
Can you
So,
explain what the anchor is? Because people might not even know what that means.
The anchor is like Hulk is an anchor, like the character that allows for the team up to happen in the first place. Because if you have Mantis and Star-Lord, for example, you don't have the team up. Or if you have Doctor Strange and Iron Man, you don't have the team up. But if you have Hulk and any of those two characters, then you have the team up. And Hulk has bonus HP as an anchor, but that's not an anchor bonus, that's a seasonal buff. So it's actually kind of weird because at the end of the season, he's going to lose 150 HP, which I think is going to make him really bad. Anyways, I agree with Flats. I think I find his passion for Rainbow Six Siege balance really funny. I feel like he has
Another
PTSD
trauma.
from that. I feel
Another
like he's
trauma.
been traumatized multiple times from multiple games.
It's been a
So-
it's been a long road.
Actually,
wanna
when you
add-
started saying it, people in chat was like, "Fuck that character." I didn't even know that character, but everyone agreed with you. They're all like, "Fuck that character."
But at least they admitted it. At least they were like, okay, well, yeah,
Yes.
you guys are sick of that shit. Fine, we'll put it in the vault for a little bit. We'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. Sorry.
Well, Flats balls. SK, go ahead.
An underrated part about Marvel Rivals is the map design. There's a flank all the time. You can stand on pretty much anything. Like, try playing Black Panther on Circuit Royale in Overwatch or Junkertown. It's just not gonna happen. But if like the map designs allow all of these melee characters or unique characters to be playable into anything. And that is like a huge, huge part of why the game is fun.
I
So, you
also
mean
I agree with everything you guys said, but like hero bans is the glue that keeps everything
true.
together. It's like genuinely
sure.
just hero bans. It is. If Overwatch introduced hero bans, like 2 bans per team, right now I would go back and play ranked. I would. The game would be.
Whoa.
I don't believe that.
game.
No.
I would play.
No,
it.
I
You
do
played
believe it.
18 hours of
Wouldn't.
Rivals. You're
No, I believe
not
it.
beating the addicted allegation.
Listen. I
I-
would go back and play Overwatch, but there's no way I'll play Overwatch, queue up Winston, for example, and then get Mauga Reaper on the enemy team and fucking Zen Bap or whatever else, or Hazard now. I wouldn't like even now because Hazard is the most played tank by a long shot. I just saw the screenshots. You can just ban
Oh, yeah.
Hazard if there were bans, and then people would just go back to playing whatever the hell they want. So, just hero bans
Mauga.
are just. I mean, then you ban Mauga and Hazard. You feel me?
Mm.
And then they go
Yeah, you-
Risa.
I mean, it is very vindicating as someone who was wanting this for a long time to see how effective it is and how all the arguments against hero bans are kind of failed in the sense of like, oh well, there'll be another hero ban meta and this we don't have enough heroes. Well, Marvel Rivals had even less heroes.
I
and
agree.
Had hero
It's
bans and
so maddening that we had so many arguments, and then Marvel was like, you know what? Fuck it, we ball. Introduce hero bans, whatever happens, happens. And they introduce it and it works beautifully, and it fixes a lot of issues and makes the game so much more fun. And all of the excuses that Overwatch doesn't have enough heroes or something else just fly out of the window. Because Marvel Rivals just came out and said 2 bans per team. Go
But
crazy.
some-
Sucks being right.
And it works.
yes, I was going to take it to Necros here because we were kind of initially talking about the path that Overwatch had trodden, right? And hero bans is a part of it. But do you have any sympathy, Necros? Like, do you kind of feel like they were trying to address issues that the community was talking about and just went wrong, or do you feel like actually what Marvel Rivals has done well is watch and observe each of these like friction points and see where actually maybe the truth lie, where the community wanted, and they've kind of taken a little bit of all of it, even down to what SK is saying. Like actually, they picked the maps to make sure that they do have like these wonky melee characters or flanky characters. They have something to do. So let's make breakable scenery so you can like make a new flank or something, and then you got roll-lock and you got team ups. Where does your perspective lie? Are you sympathetic with the devs?
Nope. Like with Blizzard, no, I have no sympathy. They had so much time to fix the game. Everyone was telling them exactly what to do. All the better players were telling them what to do. They did not do it. The cries for goats were loud for like a year and a half. They didn't do anything about it. I don't know. I don't really sympathize at all with the Blizzard devs. I think they had so much time to fix their stuff, and they never went after it. And plus, whenever they introduce a change that is
Thanks for
just
super chat.
horrendous, they never
Appreciate
go
it.
back on it. They will absolutely
Yeah,
never
it is
admit
insane.
fault.
In
They will
Overwatch,
never admit fault. They will die on that hill.
it's crazy. They will let their game explode, at least in Overwatch 1. I genuinely believe in Overwatch 2 was way better. But in Overwatch 1, they just refused to do anything. They were so like adamant that this is the path to take. And then people were like, no, this is not it. And then a year later, like, okay, fuck it,
Well, I
you were
mean-
right.
To try and give a tangible example to maybe people who might be like, oh, you guys are just whining little bitches, and you are like hindsight Andes. I will give a tangible example, and I've been kind of resisting being a little bit smug, or I told you about it, but I'm sure most of you remember because I think you were all part of it. Like I think at some point near Death Zone or Watch 1, I ran a bunch of pugs where we tested a bunch of ideas. We did hero bans, we did ult charge resetting when you check a point. So like when you capture a point or something, the ult charge goes to 0. And we tried like 1 or 2 other ideas. I think we tried like domination, like having multiple capture points that you could activate at once. I don't even know if this is ringing a bell for any of you guys, but we did all of these. I'm pretty
I
sure.
know.
At least,
I remember that. I remember
yeah, I'm
that.
pretty sure at least Flats, Bogra, and SK were in there. I can't remember Necros. I think he might have invited you. I can't remember if you played or not. And then what
Wait,
we
when?
did was this is like end of Overwatch 1, so this is a long
Oh right.
time
Oh
ago
yeah,
now.
yeah.
And I remember I asked you guys all to fill in like a little survey, and I also asked you to put a
Oh, I
separate survey
remember
out
this.
for all of your viewers. I was like, if anyone watching, fill in the survey. What do you think about the hero bands that you've seen? Idea. What do you think about this idea? What do you think about that idea? And I made like, I'm not kidding you, like a 20-page PDF document
Yeah.
with all the findings, where it was like 1,000 people replied to this survey and said that they felt this about hero bands. They felt this about. I put it like an abstract. I treat it like a proper scientific experiment. I put an abstract on it where I was like, this is the summary of our findings. And I sent it to Blizzard and I was like, here you go, guys. This is what we did. And
Did
I
they
won't
even
name
respond?
names. I won't
That's a
name
waste
names,
of-
but basically the TLDR was someone significant in the dev team was like, yeah,
Oh,
it's all
yeah.
good and all, but you think you want it, you don't. Literally, they were just like, you think it sounds good.
The classic.
Try it for like a month and you'll be bored. Just like, you guys don't know. Like take our word for it. Like we developed literally they were like, we developed World of Warcraft. People were bitching then as well about shit they didn't want. You guys just, you don't know. Just trust me, bro.
That's the thing that gets me mad more than anything these days, is because I was always told certain things are not possible. Things are not, we can't do that. People wouldn't actually like it. We've tested that before. It's not doable. It would take too much time and too much resources. It would take away from all this other stuff. So a lot of us have taken that feedback and tried to implement, like, okay, so how can we make it better within these parameters? But now we all see that it was fucking possible the entire time. And it's like, I know you did tons of research. I know you did tons of good things. And it was always just kind of like, that's why I laugh. It's like, I remember that, but also like, they'll look at it and be like, it's not enough data. We can conduct our own. That's the thing. It's like, it's always like, we're smarter, we're better. But it's like, something about Necros taught me when we did our hero, our thing, was all the players that we played against in our hero showcase, they were all like top 500 devs. They're all insanely talented at the game. They're all fucking really, really goddamn good. And it's like, all of us at this point, like, that have played Overwatch for years, like, I don't think it's a flex. I think most of us are much better at the game than almost anyone on that team. And it's not like we're smarter, like we're not devs, we're not better, like we're not better at coding than or anything like that, or analyzing stuff. But when you have 6, 7, 8 years of experience with something, like that means something. It means something. But like it was never really tapped into a lot of times. It was just kind of like, we'll figure it out.
Can I glaze the devs here a bit? During Gamescom, we organized a LAN tournament thing. Like we played 6v6 against the devs, only the devs, and us, a bunch of top 500 Overwatch players, and like half the team was also Grandmaster in Marvel Rivals during the beta. We got spawn camped. We couldn't
my
leave
God.
spawn. We couldn't leave spawn. I was like, I expected Blizzard level, gameplay, but these people were holding all the angles, playing the best meta, and playing Hawkeye wasn't there, Hela, and Strange, and Hulk, and just we couldn't play the game. They had 4 minutes. They camped with 4 minutes left on the Loki map. It was insane. I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
what the fuck?
Flats, I actually didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to scare you, but one of the devs that we played against apparently was top 2 peak on the Chinese.
I'm glad you didn't
What?
say that, dude, because I was
Yeah, I
already
didn't
going
wanna
in
scare
nervous.
you.
I hadn't played in like 6
Yeah.
months. Remember, I messaged you and I was like, dude, I'm gonna get cooked. Like this is gonna be bad. It's like, oh, listen, I don't
Maybe it was
mind
player sick.
losing.
And
Huh?
and when I was talking to them as well, they also have internal tournaments where they have winners and they get rewards.
That's
That's
sick.
cool.
So
It is cool.
Yeah, they do.
Well,
man.
I
Yeah.
want to say one thing for
Mhm.
for the Overwatch devs. They late in Overwatch 2, they have been getting feedback from like top 500 people or creators or pros. So they've been getting better about it. But
Mhm.
in
I think-
Overwatch 1, they absolutely never ever did that.
Okay, give credit where credit is due. I think Overwatch 2 devs are a lot more receptive and
For sure.
they
Agreed.
react way faster. I think Overwatch
They're
1
all
was
really great.
so cooked. It was like you're talking to a wall, and I wasn't even in like I didn't have any connections, but just from your guys' interactions with them, like it just seemed like you were talking to a wall.
Oh,
And I
the
will
wall
say,
would be
the-
more
the-
responsive.
I will say that I don't want the point to be misconstrued. What I'm saying is that everything that we as creators say or we as community say is correct all the time. And we, in fact, we explicitly
Sure.
said that earlier in the podcast that
Mhm.
we make stupid claims. Like we say stupid things and we ask for stupid things, especially in the heat of the moment. Like you're playing, especially when you are, that's where you do need a bit of distance. Because when you do play a game 8 hours a day, you sometimes get trapped in like oh, this is really frustrating. But actually the truth is somewhere else. But I think as it goes back to what we said earlier, you have to stand on the right issues and relent on the right issues. Like that's the key to making a long-term successful game. And we'll see what Marvel Rivals does if they are going to make that. Is like Jeff stood on certain issues and he was right on some issues and he was wrong on some issues. And that stand proved to be the making and breaking Overwatch, right? It's like the initial stand was what made Overwatch so great. But then the failure to recognize, actually, I should wilt here, I should relent here, is also what brought the downfall of Overwatch 1. So the secret sauce is making that right. Like, I think actually the community has a point here versus guys, we have a vision here. Like, stick with us. So I think that's what it comes down to, basically. Necros, SK,
Yeah.
anything else you guys want to add?
I think all the Overwatch 2 devs are really good, really bright, but they have a huge, huge problem to fix and maybe not the resources to do it.
Yeah, that's the key. Actually, they literally don't.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't
Cool.
think I think it's like unfair to compare Marvel Rivals and Overwatch in a lot of ways because Marvel Rivals I bet has a lot of funding into it and they can pump out heroes like crazy in maps.
Mhm.
Especially because they don't have to make the heroes from ground up. They just choose them from the comics and most of them love Marvel. So they're like actually Luna Snow was created by the guy that made Marvel Rivals for another game. Do you know that? Danny,
like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
made
he's the creator of.
he made
the
the
character.
character. He made
Yeah.
the character,
Oh,
then
cool.
added it to Marvel
What?
Rivals. Yeah,
Yeah.
he
That's so
created
cool.
Luna Snow.
That
Danny.
explains because I was reading somewhere that like she's not really a very prominent character in the Marvel
No,
canon.
he made it for a game, another Marvel game, because he worked on another game, and then he re-added her into Marvel Rivals.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Can I ask
Yeah.
actually a genuine question that I have? I don't know if you have any insight on this, Bogo, or maybe Necros or Flats. When of you guys, if you've spoken to devs, you know. Does it actually speed up the process to have a because how much of the dev time goes into like ideating on a hero versus actually just making the model and the abilities? Like my impression would have been the majority of the time is in like making the model and the abilities and the like look of it
Yeah,
and the design, the balance of it.
But before that, you're gonna have concept artists, and then you're gonna have people figuring out how the character is good. Like in Overwatch, Hazard is being made. They need to choose where he's from, how he looks like, Row they need to choose from.
But the
Marvel
thing is,
Rivals
that's like a
anyways.
simultaneous process, though, right? Is what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
think
Like,
so.
someone's always making a new, like someone's job is to just keep churning out ideas. So they're just going to keep throwing ideas. But from my understanding, again, this is why if you've talked to the devs, maybe ask them as well, where does the majority of the time take? Because I would have thought it'd be actually like making the character in the game.
I think I'll be honest. I think it's, from my personal opinion, which people would disagree with. I haven't been a game dev or anything, but I think it's much harder to create something from nothing and make it actually a tangible thing, and then like go from there and then make the model. Like somebody needs to figure out how Hazard looks like, and I feel like it takes a lot of time just to get it right, and then somebody bases the model off of that. So I feel like the modeling is probably going to take less time than the creation of the idea, because a lot of you make ideas for videos and stuff. I feel like it takes a lot of time to make a really good, video or something, like make it into reality. Once you start making it, it's much faster. But the first steps, I feel like it's much harder, But
Sure.
I don't know.
No, I genuinely don't know. That's why I'm asking. Flats, you were gonna say something?
I mean, I also I agree. I 100% agree. But I can't help but say let's not get it twisted. Like they had the resources for a long time. They just fucked up how they were going to use them because of the Overwatch 2 with the PvE, right? And
Oh, no.
I hate to say it. I mean, the guy is just an evil bastard, but a broken clock is right twice a day. There was that report that came out, it was like Bobby wanted to expand the Overwatch team to have two teams, a team that worked on Overwatch 1 and a team that worked on Overwatch 2. And Jeff did not want to do that. He wanted one small team. There was no chance in hell they were ever going to make the product that they wanted to make in that time. They're also now acquired by Microsoft. That deal has been in place for years, and it went through last year, and there's not shit. It wasn't even at the Xbox showcase. Overwatch, who is owned by that company, was not at the showcase. if they're not giving them the resources, then it's like there's a reason they're not getting the resources, because it's not making as much money as it would need to make to get more stuff, get more into it. And how do you reverse that? I don't know. I actually don't know how you stop that slide, because if you're getting less and less resources and you can't make stuff and you can't keep up with demand, you're going to fall behind. And if they're already kind of falling behind, I don't know. I don't know how you fix that. But like, it's not like they didn't have resources for a long time. They absolutely did. They just didn't do the right things with those resources.
And again, that goes back to Jeff stickling, right? Like Jeff's like, no, I want this small team, and sometimes that decision works, sometimes it doesn't. Now, obviously, this is a Rivals podcast, so go ahead.
I feel like we've come from a really bad 8-year relationship, and the new person we're dating is treating us really well, and we finally learned what it's like being in love or being loved by somebody. And things to like, genuinely, this is how it feels in this podcast.
This is
right
like
now.
therapy for all
No,
of
for
us.
real,
It
though.
is, because
Like, someone's going to say like, oh, you guys, it's Rivals, you're talking about so much Overwatch. But like, genuinely though, we are going to be the people that have the most experience in the hero genre for the longest period of time. And we can be like, hey, we saw this happen. It's not good. Like, don't do this. Like, be careful. Like we're almost like historians of a terrible era, you know? Like, we can look at these things and be like, you know, these things didn't work. And it's like, I hope they don't happen here. And so, yeah, I know it was like, we're probably talking a little bit too much about it, but it's like, it's important. It's important to know.
you know what's also crazy? That I can add Pokimane to Duo, and she's like, yes, because she likes playing the game, but it was Overwatch. I couldn't
You would have got blocked.
I would have been blocked by anyone. Like, just me talking to people at TwitchCon that I'm an Overwatch streamer would give me. They would look at me weirdly. They would be like, "Oh, it's Overwatch streamer."
Thanks,
Yeah.
people.
That's not
Appreciate
true.
it.
I got
Yeah,
Pokimane
she
to say
did.
yes to play Overwatch with me.
She did.
Really? But did you play Overwatch?
Audio listeners, SK stunned silence.
Because
I mean,
feel
you
like
still
she
haven't got
liked
you
you.
still haven't got her to play Marvel Rivals
No,
yet
I
either, though,
haven't.
so don't
but she
count your
replied.
chickens.
She replied. But my point is, she said yes to Overwatch because she liked SK, but she doesn't want to play Overwatch.
No, but
then-
that's the common denominator. She just likes SK, so we have to figure
Oh,
out
yeah.
if she likes
Yay.
playing with you.
Who doesn't
in
like
any
playing
game.
with me? Let's be real. Necros,
Me.
vouch.
He's not gonna vouch.
Yeah. You're the
Fuck
girl.
Yeah.
Bogart.
The strange girl. Who would?
He's not here, bro.
Well, I am. I actually had something to say. I wanted to say that,
Go
like, what goes into like what makes making the heroes really go by quicker is, I think that what's missing from Blizzard is also passion, right? That's what's like different about these devs is I feel like they're all really like big fans of the Marvel universe, and they're like very passionate. One thing that I have heard them say is that the devs made like, so do you guys know all the preview trailers for like the earlier ones for Cloak and Dagger, Iron Fist, all the like heroes that got revealed at once. I was told that they made all of them in one day.
The trailers.
Yeah, the preview
Huh?
trailers for all the heroes.
Okay.
Because they like and they were like, oh, you guys calm down. They're like, no, we have all these cool ideas. We want to make this right now. Yeah, I think that's like one thing that's missing from Blizzard is I feel like they all kind of show up there and they're like, okay, guys, all right, let's think of a new hero. All right, what's
No, they're
What's that?
incredibly passionate. I've spent a lot of time with them. I've like in real life, they are so. I have not met anyone that is more passionate about Overwatch than the Overwatch devs. I will die on that hill.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
SK on that
I will
one.
have to agree with SK as well, in the sense that being in that office, I was like, I don't understand how these guys have this much passion for this game
Yeah.
that like I feel morbid about. Like I'm like depressed about this game, and these guys have to hear this shit, and they're still just
No,
passionate.
we know the answer.
I
know
just
what
feel
it
like
is.
the results aren't really there. You know what I mean? Like you can
Yeah, but-
you can literally see what the
But
Marvel Rivals is
Here's
working
the
on.
thing. When you talk to the devs, because we all met them except you, they're really passionate and nice, and they love the game, and they kept talking about the game with us. So you can't like, you think about it and you're like, these people really love the game and they love working on it. So what the hell is going on behind the scenes, right? So I don't think it's fair to blame the devs. I feel like there might be higher powers at play.
I think that's it for sure.
Okay. I mean, like I said, this is a Rivals podcast, so we will talk about Rivals a bit
Yes.
more. I just want to round out, so like let's end the Overwatch discussion with this one final point, which is that we've cried over the spilt milk. We've kind of aired our grievances, our sort of complaints, the notes that we had are like, this bitch treat me like that over then. But now, what is the lesson for current Overwatch to take? Like, what can it do now? Is there any hope for Overwatch to kind of learn from Marvel Rivals or take anything from it to be like, okay, how do we make our game pop off again? Or is it just that like Marvel Rivals is just dead now? Overwatch is killed. Like Overwatch is dead. Marvel Rivals killed it. I mean, Necros already declared it dead earlier.
Overwatch is dead. Yep,
2016 to 2025 over RIP. But
yeah, it's
so is that your stance? Unironically, Necros, you think it's kind of cooked?
Okay, so I think whatever they could possibly do is years off. So I think Marvel Rivals is gonna have their turn in the spotlight, whatever, right, for the next like year. Like, I really don't think they can do anything to the game yet. Like, based off of their release cadence and stuff, it's probably going to take them a while before they actually manage to challenge Rivals. That's at least my take on it.
I mean, that's a very reasonable take. SK, how about you? Where do you stand on this?
I agree. It has to be something huge, and that's years away.
Yep.
Damn, depressing. Flats, you any different feeling on it?
I think even if it is a huge thing, like anything that they come up with, it's not going to be what people have asked for. It'll be Blizzard's own special thing that they came up with, and whether it's good or not, that will probably piss people off because they asked for XYZ and were given ABC.
Mm.
Okay, Boga, come on. You gotta draw some optimism here. What can Overwatch do?
One funny thing is like, so I have a lot more viewers now than any time during Overwatch. A lot of people that came into my stream were like, bro, I know about you for a long time, but I don't like Overwatch, but I love Marvel Rivals. So yeah, and I'm like, damn, that's depressing, right? So I feel like the only way Overwatch comes back is if they make something huge, as Necros said, but they weren't prepared for Marvel Rivals launch. Like, I don't think they actually thought that Marvel Rivals is going to be so big, so they didn't prepare anything. I feel like Marvel Rivals swooped in, stole all the creators, basically stole the player base, and now everybody
The
actually just really
casters too.
the casters too. They just took everything, and they're like, it's ours now. And Overwatch hasn't done a single thing about it, right? So I don't know. Or the other thing is, if Marvel Rivals completely fucks up, they do something so inherently stupid in a few months that everybody's like, okay. They're like, okay, back to Overwatch. Like, it's like if it's a relationship, it's like they cheat on you with, like the worst person you know, right? And you're like, okay, this is fucked up. Fuck this. I'm back to Overwatch. I mean, she was abusive, but at least, she didn't do this, right? So I feel like that is the only two possibilities. But who knows? Maybe Overwatch comes out, 5 new heroes in February, 60 new maps, 6v6 is back. Jeff Kaplan revived, but this time no longer evil and bad. He just sits there in front of a campfire and just talks about the game. Who knows?
Okay, I feel like I gotta be the opposite side on this for like 1 sec.
Okay.
I feel like it's mostly dead for people like us that have been around for a long time, that played Overwatch 1. And you made a great point, Boga, earlier of how they reimagine the game and they change it fundamentally with role queue, with 5v5, big ones, right? And that the player base today is either disgruntled Overwatch 1 players who have no other choice because there's no other game that plays like it, or Overwatch 2 enjoyers. And now all the disgruntled Overwatch 1 players who have been looking for their fix of a hero shooter now have a home to go to. And they are going there. But all of the people who fell in love with Overwatch 2, what it is today, the 5v5, the way the game plays, the way support got changed, the way tank got changed, they enjoy what the game is today. They're likely only been playing since 2022 when the game went free to play and was when it was a new game, quote unquote. Those players probably will still keep playing Overwatch and maybe enjoy Rivals too, but to them the game isn't dead. The game probably won't go anywhere. And but it will take a giant hit because there was a lot of people that were disgruntled Overwatch 1 people who wanted that fix and they wanted to play that game, but they couldn't. And that is, in reality, a lot of especially the creators and casters that exist today, because we've been around for so many years. We've had those established bases. And if we're going to be completely honest, Like there's some people in the scene that used to be really, really big streamers, or even still are, but like their ceiling comes down slowly, and it's hard to ignore that the ceiling's coming down little by little, and it's like people are just not interested that much anymore. That trickle of new players is small. It's not as big as it used to be, but they're still there, and they will still love that game. And maybe a new group of creators will come out of this where they've just only been playing Overwatch 2 and they still enjoy the game. And a lot of people that are more disgruntled have a new home and they're going to go play that mostly.
I actually agree with you, and I was thinking about it, but I kind of forgot until you started talking about it. I think one of the best things to happen to Overwatch is Marvel Rivals, because it shows the devs a lot of things that they were really scared about adding. It shows them that it could work. It removes a lot of people that are unhappy with the game, like us, that just didn't enjoy the game, and leaves a lot of people that actually enjoy the game to just play the game in peace. I mean, kind of not in peace because everyone keeps bullying them, but in peace. And I've seen a lot of other creators just slowly grow. And if we do stay forever in Marvel Rivals, they will inevitably take the spots that we left behind. And I think it's a good thing, because I think it's way better for Overwatch to have creators that actually enjoy the game than us that sit there and bitch about it every single day, right? So I think it's a good thing. Ultimately, I think it's kind of rough right now, but when inevitably people like start, season 1, how long is the season Marvel Rivals? Like 3 months? 2? I don't know.
3 months.
It's like 2.
No idea.
It's 2.
3 months. Like 2 months?
I think it's 2.
Either way, I feel like towards the later half of season 1, people are gonna be like, okay, we've played it, we've done this, let's go play some Overwatch, right? So people are saying 3 months. People are saying 3 months.
It's 2.5.
2.5. Okay.
2.5.
It's 2.5.
2.63.
So I feel like a lot of people will
Repeating.
kind of get tired with Rivals a bit towards the end of the season, which is normal. And then they will probably go back and play some Overwatch. And what's going to wait for them there are going to be people that actually enjoy the game. And I think that's cool. I think it's an interesting thought. It's a more positive thought.
Yeah, I mean, here I'm going to try and provide a little bit of positivity as well, which is that to some extent the question I asked you is unfair, because I don't think realistically it's fair to compare Overwatch 2 right now to Marvel Rivals right now, because it's like so obviously like skewed to the fact that Marvel Rivals is just released and is popping off and has all the hype, right? And nobody's ever mad at a game in the first month. There's just never has it. Like if it's a good game, nobody's ever like, oh my god, look at all these bad decisions the devs are making. People are always like, oh yeah, this is great and that is great, and even this I thought what I would hate is actually really great. So it's more about a question of like a year down the line, 2 years down the line, right? And I'm sure the Overwatch devs are aware that they like this will happen. I think one thing that they can do is that right now Marvel Rivals is succeeding as the anti-Overwatch, right? It's like, oh, all the bad decisions Overwatch made, we fix them. We made all the good decisions. So if you liked Overwatch, you come to Marvel Rivals, like original Overwatch, you come to Marvel Rivals, you get original Overwatch. Somewhere down the line, that relationship will reverse. Somewhere down the line, if Marvel Rivals has like these hundreds of thousands of players playing, they will make decisions that the Marvel Rivals community will be like, why didn't you add Roadlock? Why do you keep banning the heroes I like? Whatever thing it is, right? They're going to make some decision that Overwatch then has the chance to be like, oh, you want a sanitized experience where you don't have 5 DPS in your team? Come to Overwatch where we have Roadlock or whatever it is, right? I'm not saying that's the one, but there will come these times when Overwatch has the chance to market itself as the anti-Marvel Rivals. And I actually do think right now it hurts. And like I'm seeing fucking Dexerto trash journalism general articles of like, Overwatch's viewership is dead. Marvel Rivals has killed it. And it's like,
I actually hate these articles so much in Twitter posts. It's like, just
Me too.
what's the point of this? Like, you're just farming clicks.
They're yeah, it's a click farm.
That is the point.
That is actually the point.
Yeah, that's the point of it. Well, shit, I lost my train of thought. But
I can tell you it's bullshit, because they literally, one of the people they mentioned in that article was Emong, and it's like he hasn't even played that much Rivals. Like what are you talking about? Like you just went through and like, who are top Overwatch streamers, and just like copied and pasted a bunch of the names, checked and saw if they've played any Rivals, and then hit paste. Okay.
And then like every day there's a new post who's like, Overwatch is dying, Marvel Rivals taking over, Marvel Rivals is the best game ever, Marvel Rivals way better. It's like, I swear Necros is writing all these posts.
so the point I was going to make.
It's a good game, man.
So the point I was going to make is that it actually is, right now it feels bad, but actually in the long term it should be good for Overwatch that there's a game in a very similar genre that's popping off that has people playing, Because right now, like before Marvel Rivals, there was like just Overwatch in this specific genre, right? It's like in the same way that Battle Royale games, they kind of feed off of each other to some extent, right? It's like by having 2 or 3 really popular Battle Royale games, they can constantly like steal from each other, but they're also keeping the genre alive. In the same way, Marvel Rivals is showing people what they loved about launch Overwatch, which is making them play this type of game again. And somewhere down the line, like Overwatch will feed off of it in the same way that all these big genres of games do. And I was thinking about this in a big meta sense of like, it's really hard for a game to stick like and remain for years as successful. Like there's only like 6 games that do that, right? It's like Fortnite, CS:GO, League and Dota, and whatever else you want to add. Like maybe you want to add Valorant, maybe you want to add like something else, right? But it's like a handful of games that actually stick for years. Everything else comes and goes, right? Everything else like, oh, popped off for like a year and then it disappears, like eventually dwindles into obscurity. Overwatch at least has something. Like it did capture this huge moment. It still did have this huge peak. And now Marvel Rivals, with this huge franchise behind it, this huge like behemoth behind it to churn out content, will bring people to this genre. Like it will bring people to the hero shooter, arena shooter, whatever you want to call it, genre. And that does leave a market, I think, for the Overwatch team to be like, okay, well, people like this genre. How do we carve our own little niche in it? So I think that is in my mind, that's where Overwatch should look with hope. Is like, okay, maybe we can figure something out in like a duality with Marvel Rivals, the way like League and Dota play off of each other, stuff like that. Any thoughts on this end from you guys before we move on back to actually just talking about Rivals stuff?
I didn't think about that. That's smart.
That's fair. Necros, anything you want to add?
No.
Cool. I mean, Boger's already put you on blast for ghostwriting on Dexerto, so.
Hey, listen,
What can
I
you
just
do?
know it's him.
I
bro,
am the
it's him.
writer. What if I am secretly the writer?
While
It's
we're
possible.
waiting 20 minutes in
Plot
queue, he's
twist.
just writing the articles. I mean, honestly, I don't think there's any difference in your writing skills between these journalists and you who plays the game only and has never had any experience whatsoever. Let's be clear here for a sec.
Damn. Okay, well, so you kind of alluded to it, but they're about to drop season 1 of Marvel Rivals. I think next week or this week.
Like what, 4 days?
Okay, so
Yeah.
couple days. What do you think it needs to get right in this first season for like the first season to be a good success? So I'll take it to SK first. SK, what does season 1 of Marvel Rivals need?
I think it already has everything. Like the new heroes coming out. I don't know how much else is coming. Honestly, I really haven't looked into it. But
Well, actually,
Yeah, I feel like the
do any
new
of you
heroes
guys have like
coming
an
out, new
authoritative
skins.
list of what's coming out that you can help SK out with?
No.
Like a list of
No,
like
you
what you
don't know?
want?
Or what's coming?
Or-
Do you know what's actually coming right
4
now?
heroes, 3 maps,
Oh.
new battle pass, new fucking
Okay.
I don't know.
New tournament.
New
Wait, there's
tournament.
3 maps?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Golly.
Okay,
This
you know
is
what?
my strong language.
That's actually my only
Um,
complaint. That's literally it.
Oh.
Okay, SK, I'll let
Uh,
you finish your point and then we'll go back to the others.
There's like a lot of bugs I want to see fixed. The voice chat thing, when I can't see who's talking, is really making me mad. The ping to servers, I'm like teleporting around a lot. When I play Spider-Man and I'm doing a lot of uppercut stuff, sometimes I'll literally just like teleport back to where I was. Sidelock dash will have me teleporting, and I'm not exaggerating with teleporting. Like I am genuinely teleporting or stuttering around the map, or I have 100 FPS if fights break out, or if a Doctor Strange puts a portal in front of me, I have 50. My teammates are crashing out of the game when people open up Doctor Strange portals, and we're losing points because of it. I don't know. It's just like all of a lot of stuff needs polished, and I'm also curious to see what the patch will be like, the balance patch, because that'll give us a really good bearing on what we might see in the future. I'm scared that if Wolverine gets buffed, we'll see a Giga Wolverine meta where tanks can't play the game anymore. But then he'll just
1,000
become a
buffs to
permaban.
Wolverine.
But yeah, he'll just become a permaban. So yeah.
Necros, how about you? You're already quite, you're already on board and you're already writing articles. But what do you think season 1 needs to do?
I think it needs to do exactly what it's doing. I mean, I think this is perfect. Like,
Yeah.
what more could you ask for? They're releasing 4 heroes. There's a bunch of new maps. I don't know exactly. I think it's 2 or 3. they're adding a lot of content. Like I think the maps are the biggest issue though, and so it's good that those are getting addressed. Because
You-
I
you
feel like
there's
okay,
a-
I don't know about you guys, but I feel like there's like a thing in Rivals where there's a lot of like repeat maps happening.
Yep.
Do you guys get that?
Yes.
Like how many
Yeah.
like I've played like one time, like I think the same map 3 times in a row. And so
thought
like
we
I
said
feel
that
like
5 times in
adding
a row.
maps would like remedy that issue.
But they shouldn't add too many. I feel
I
like
think the
they're
way
already
they're-
getting to too many.
I mean, they're only at like what 8 or something.
Yeah, like a
There's not that many. I think their system might be flawed. So like, I think that in some games, like basically the server says, hey, if you're playing within this 10-15 minute interval, you have a chance to get like this map, which is like a high percentage chance, and then maybe a secondary map as like a lower but like close to the same percentage, and then there's like a third backup map. And so the game recognizes, okay, what map did you play last game? And then it's like, okay, if you played last game, you know, within that 15-minute window or whatever the window is, it's like, okay, you already played that map within this window. Okay, we'll give you the second one, right? And then like a very rare third map. That's why like if you open up a lot of like streamers like games during the same time of the day, on doesn't matter what game it is, a lot of times you'll see them playing on the same map at the same time. And I think that's because the server is just like, hey, like, you know, when you queue up at this time in this interval, you will get a map, right? And I don't know what the intervals are. I don't know if there's there doesn't seem to be a detection. Like, okay, I just played this map. We won't give you it again. We'll give you the next one instead. I don't think there's a system like that in place. So like you were saying, you got 3 in a row. I would bet that you finish those first 2 games like pretty quickly. And then the third game, like you managed to still get in on the same interval somehow, where it just gives you
Probably.
the same map again. And so it's like, it kind of sucks to have that happen.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it was like a Koth map and it was like a 2-0 stomp. So yeah, these games tend to finish pretty quickly, so that might be the reason why. But it definitely sucks to get like the same map a bunch of times in a row.
But SK, you feel like maybe actually you want to limit the number of maps overall.
Yeah, it feels like a waste of resources. I don't know. Do you guys think Overwatch has too many maps? I think it does.
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Like it's getting
I
ridiculous.
think I think it
There's
has
only
too
so
many
things
modes.
you can
I
do.
think
it's
it
game
has
modes.
too many game modes. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
I was gonna say the same thing. I think if the game focused on payloads and King of the Hill and hybrids and just made more maps like that instead of trying to make new game modes, it would be much better.
Guys, does it
Yep.
have too many game modes or does it have too many bad game modes? Because I don't
Yeah,
think
but
anyone.
the thing is, there's only so many good game modes you can make. Like there's only like people like payload and
Yeah.
hybrid and King of the Hill are just inherently so much better than any other game mode. And there's like it's
Well, it dilutes
That's
it as
one.
well. So like if
Yes,
you
it
only get a
also
map
dilutes
every
it.
other season and you have 6 game modes, those core game modes maybe get 1 map every 2 years. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know, every 2
Yeah.
months is a new hero and every 2 months is a new map. So that's once every 4 months. You have 6 game modes. That means like it might be 2 fucking years before a certain game mode gets a new map. And then if they introduce a new game mode, well, they're going to give maps for the new game mode too. And especially the newer game modes, like, you know, your flashpoint, your push, whatever. Like when you add all these game modes, you have to give them maps too. So like the core gameplay maps are going to fall behind. I think that honestly, more maps is almost never a bad thing. Unless the map sucks, then it's like, okay, well, I don't want to play that map.
I think there's a wider thing of it is like, especially for someone who doesn't play a lot, it's like if there's 20 maps, you might get like you might never even play a map for like
Yeah.
weeks, right? You just constantly changing maps, and that can be a little bit frustrating. I think if you're just like, oh, I don't even properly know this map, and I'm having to like dance around it again, figuring out what the wall is, blah blah blah. So I definitely think you can get bored, but I also think it's not the worst thing in the world to just grind a map if it's a good map. If you're just like happy with the map, you're not really gonna, you know, if you gave Overwatch players like 5 maps and they were all the 5 best maps, I don't think they'd complain that they were just playing the same 5 maps over and over.
I'm
But
not
it's
tired of
someone
playing
would.
maps yet.
Someone would.
Listen,
someone
I-
would always complain about everything, but yeah, that's
can
neither
I?
here nor there.
I feel like there's too much glazing on here from our rivals. I'm about to lay it down.
Mm,
I'm about to say my piece here. I think the game is
fuck
good. I
Marvel
think it's
Rivals.
fuck that game. No, I think the game is fun. I think it's really good, but performance for a lot of people is
Horrible.
kind of ass. Not to mention some heroes, their abilities are tied to FPS. I've seen strange players remove, like basically make as much FPS as they can so that they can fly into the team with their shift. Because so if you don't know, Strange fly thing, the distance you traverse is tied to your FPS. So if you min-max your FPS and have really high FPS, you can literally fly into the enemy team and strange out, and the enemy strange can't do anything. So I've
counter it.
I've
God.
seen it. I've seen some strange players start doing this, which is kind of annoying. Not gonna lie. Second of all, as we mentioned, playing the same map over and over again, really annoying. Some heroes like Hela were broken in the beta, are still broken, and I'm really scared that they're not gonna do anything about it season 1. I do know she has a
Happy 2
seasonal buff,
months,
but
Chad, love you,
there's
dude.
characters that are really oppressive, and like Hela, Hawkeye,
Thanks, Kirby. Thank you for 2
Wolverine
months.
is a nightmare if you're a tank. Like it's genuinely a nightmare. It's so bad. It's like you hope if Wolverine isn't banned that you have a Wolverine player, or they don't play Wolverine, or you can't play the game. It's actually terrible to play against Wolverine. And bugs. There's a lot of bugs and voice chat. Voice chat is actually embarrassing how bad
It's
voice
so
chat
bad.
is. It's
It's
actually
horrible.
It's been
so
that way
bad.
since the alpha too. They haven't done
Yeah.
anything about it. I can't believe. Like I was living under the hope that they're gonna do something until the full release, but no, you can't. Like at least like being able to see who is talking. Like that's like the worst part. Like someone just says like, "Yo, bubble me" or something. I'm like, okay, who the hell is saying that?
Yeah,
Who's saying
you
bubble?
can't
It's-
see who's talking half the time. You can't see if you're talking, and then sometimes it randomly
Mhm.
turns on your microphone. So I'm just
Yeah.
talking. It's so bad, and the ping system is random. It's like you can
Flats,
ping
have
the
you
point in front
discussed
of you,
what
and it
feels
pings
like
the
bot
mantle
lobbies,
behind you. It's
especially
so
in
bad.
rank?
Or it'll ping
as
your
well.
ult
What do you mean
status.
feels like
you
bot
try
lobbies?
to ping the Iron
that sounds
Fist
kind of-
fisting your
I mean, I've
backline,
heard
but
people
instead
talk about
it
bot
pings
lobbies,
the
but
point that's 50
doesn't sound like
million kilometers
confirmed.
away. It's like
Yeah.
either way.
Within 31 months.
Anyways, these things
Appreciate it.
very fixable, but they were fixable
Annoying.
back in the beta. They weren't fixed now. I hope they fix it in the future.
Yeah, good points. I think these are again things that people will forgive for a little bit of time, but they won't forgive for a long period of time. Like if that goes on for a while,
Mhm.
people are gonna bitch the hell off. Like I remember with Apex having those like they had audio issues for the longest time, right? It was like people were constantly complaining that like, oh, you can't hear like someone's footsteps or like there's suddenly random footsteps. And then for a while you can be like, okay, that's fine. But after 6 months, you're like, this game is ass. It's not fixed this one problem. Blah 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 blah.
Oh, also the mouse moving or mouse something thing at the beginning, there was definitely something with it.
Mouse
It
And-
wasn't mouse acceleration. It was
Wasn't
mouse
necessarily mouse
moving. It was
acceleration.
mouse
Yeah.
moving.
Oh,
But
Because
it
like
was
I even
something, and
tested
it
the
was really
acceleration.
messing with the game.
There was no acceleration, but there might have been smoothing.
Yeah. And then
But
there
I,
was
as
a
a tank
Thank you,
player,
that's
don't
appreciated.
notice it.
I feel like it's a cope. I didn't notice it at all.
I didn't notice
No,
it
I
either.
really noticed it. There was a huge
It's no,
difference
it's a
when I
cope. It's
used
actually
the
a cope.
config and when I didn't.
I
But
can
after a bit,
imagine
it got
SK would pick
fixed.
up on it. SK is the kind of person who would pick up
I-
on it.
100% there was something. And the config that fixed it, like, they removed it. Or the
Blossom needs
config
22
that
months.
fixes FPS and like all the problems, they patched it out. Like you can't use it anymore, and they've been banning people that use it. So that sucks. Yeah.
I think they
I-
did
I-
say in the Discord announcement that they're gonna like address it as soon as possible, which is
Yeah.
I'm assuming season 1. So they're working on it. The point is that they're listening, and that's good.
Mm.
I'm muting my mic to thank
we had an interesting
subs
point
and
in chat from
bits.
Gavin
What do you-
Winter actually
what's
saying
wrong
that
with
like
you?
maps and new heroes have diminishing returns. So like the more you add, the less excited each new release is, which I think totally makes sense. Like
Oh,
a
interesting.
new hero in like
Even
in a game with
heroes.
100 heroes is whatever. Like I've seen that in Dota. Like new hero comes out, like a new hero just came out, everyone's like, just ban this fucker. I don't even want to play with him. Like I don't give a shit. So I think that's, and when you've already got like 100 choices, you've already got 50 heroes you've never played. So I think it makes sense that right now it's hype to get 4 more rival heroes, but this actually leads well to the next question I was going to ask is, do you think they're going to keep up this kind of cadence? Like obviously not. I don't imagine they're going to release 4 heroes every season, but maybe you think they do. Maybe Flats feels like maybe you think Flats are going to release like 4 heroes every season?
It depends how much money they printing.
I mean, to be fair, if
No
they keep
way.
releasing 4 heroes every season, eventually there will run out of fun ideas, and it will be just heroes for the sake of releasing heroes. And I also think the 4 new heroes, or however much they might be releasing throughout this year, have been prepared beforehand because they've had a lot of time to do it.
I mean, if they release 4 new heroes, I'm going to start writing some Marvel comics because they're going to run out of ideas very fast and they're going to need some new ones. So I'm going to get
They
my
have like
own Lunas now.
2,000 or something to pull from.
I think they have like 9,000 characters. They'll probably be fine
Really?
for
Yeah,
a while.
but even with 9,000 characters, how many different variants of DPS can you do? Like genuinely, or tank? Like how like what else are you gonna do? Like you're gonna make all the ideas. You're gonna have 50 vanguards. The 51st vanguard. How are you gonna make him unique?
Guys, I want them to add Shang-Chi. Sorry, that's just
Who?
random. But what? What do you mean who?
I don't.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be honest
break
here.
it down for
Okay,
him.
listen,
SK, break
listen.
it
I
down for
have
him.
I have watched maybe 2 Marvel movies in my life.
Oh,
Not a good
Yeah.
chill.
And listen,
It's
I'm
That's
being
a
honest.
self-report.
Self-report.
I mean, I don't think I mean the thing is the good thing for them is that each character has an existing backstory, right? So you don't need the mechanics to be unique. You just like mix and mash 3 different archetypes, right? So it's like one character has AAA, one character has ABC, one character has like C, D, A. You know, like you just kind of mix and mash a few types of abilities, and that's fine. Like as long as they look cool and they, you know, their comics will have cool story. Who cares? Necros, you think they're gonna release 4 heroes a season?
No, absolutely not. I think the cadence is going to slow down pretty quickly. Actually, I don't know how many of you know this, but Rivals was actually supposed to release in the middle of 2025.
yo,
So I think
don't
they
know much at
have
all.
like a
Thanks
lot
for
of
the gifted,
content that
appreciate
they've like that was almost finished, but they chose to release it like a bit earlier. So I'd expect it to slow down by like maybe season 3 or 4. I think it's going to go down to like would be considered normal, right?
And what do you envision their eventual cadence will be? Like 1 hero a season?
Probably like a hero and a map every season is what I would imagine they are probably going for.
that's still so much. That's crazy. That would be awesome.
And what do you guys see as like the future for the franchise then? Like, so we're kind of talking season 1, but where does it go from there? Like, because it is such a huge franchise. Like, what could we expect? Could we expect bigger tie-ups? Like, are they gonna reference Marvel Rivals in like TV shows and films? Are they gonna release a film and then immediately release a character at the same time in the game to like generate hype? Like, where do you think it could go, Boger?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question? Because I was laughing at the chatter saying something really stupid.
My favorite.
I feel that. I feel
Understandable.
that's on a
I
spiritual
was just-
level right now. I
And
cannot
and then
focus
every
on this
time they say
conversation half the time.
they say something stupid. Everyone starts copy pasting it. They're like, "Oh
Yeah.
my fucking god!" Okay, say it again. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, where do you think the future for the franchise lies? Like, how can they tie in with like the wider Marvel cinematic universe and whatnot?
I
The
think
franchise.
if they start making, I think they should make a PvE game. I think, no, it's
and
you know,
where you
like-
fight robots? Yeah.
no, I don't know. I think one cool thing is that they're collabing with their other Marvel games. I think that's really cool. And they said they're collab. I don't even know the games, but I think that's cool. Collabing with other games, getting free stuff for playing the games, collabing with maybe wild take here, but imagine a DC collab with Marvel. That could go kind of crazy. Listen. I'm just saying. Or you don't even have to do
Batman.
DC. You can do other comics. You don't doesn't have to be DC. You can add in Hellboy. You can add in Spawn. I think his name was. You can add in who else? Any other
Invincible. from,
Invincible. Oh, that would be. I would be so hyped for that. Or I think Watchmen as well. Maybe that would be cool. Honestly, that would be awesome.
The
Or
Boys.
The Boys, yeah. I think it could happen. I think they have so much money that it could happen, and they're printing
Maybe an
even more.
Overwatch collab.
I wonder how much money they're gonna print this year. Overwatch collab would.
Yeah.
I don't think that's happening, but that would be funny.
They could also collab with games that are not competitors. So like, you know how Apex did Final Fantasy 7.
yeah,
could-
for
you could-
skins and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. Overwatch Tracer skin for Star Lord.
Stuff like that.
I have 2 things.
hmm
Okay, 1, there's no Vanguard for the girlies. And we need a Vanguard for the girlies. And the thing is not it. And
Wait, is that
2,
true?
Here's the thing.
oh,
This is the
Oh,
joke.
That was the joke.
This
The
is
joke
the
is
entirety of the
next.
joke.
okay. And 2, I want gay people. I want to see women kissing, making out. I want to see Psylocke making out with magic. Yummy. Okay, that's
You
it.
can find that already, but yeah, not official.
I'm
yeah,
sure you can
I want it in
find
the
that.
game.
Does Overwatch have
I
characters
want to see
making
Kate
out?
Vi.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be
I
sick.
don't know. I don't know
Fire.
Marvel characters, so I don't know the gay ones either. Are there many gay characters
Are
in
there
Marvel?
any?
I don't know. I'm
Probably
clueless
some
about Marvel
fringe
lore.
probably some fringe characters are. I don't recall seeing Captain America.
Deadpool is
and Iron Man.
pansexual.
That's
Somebody
true.
said, yeah.
But does he
Oh.
like you can look at the Deadpool films. Does he ever actually meaningfully do anything
I mean,
with
no.
like a man? I don't think so. Not that I've seen the latest one, so maybe I'm missing out. But I think SK is right. But then I think I've seen. I mean, the internet is just a shit place, anyways. But I think I've seen people be like, "Oh yeah." In fact, wasn't it that fuckhead Grums who was like, "The reason Marvel Rivals is succeeding because it ain't gay like Overwatch." It's just like the fucking idiots are already on it. So maybe they will go down that route. I don't know. I
The
think it would be fun.
pussification of Marvel Rivals.
I don't think they will, but I won't.
I think it's likely that they won't because of their whole franchise nonsense, but and also being netties. So,
And his company.
so it is unlikely, but it's a fair request. Where do you see the franchise going, Flats? Where do you see the franchise potential lying?
Like in like a couple years from now? Or just in
Whenever, like,
general?
yeah, where could it go? Where could Marvel Rivals go? What could we look forward to?
I okay. My prediction is that in like 3 or 4 months from now, you're probably going to lose a lot of like the more mainstream streamers that are like not gamers, right? Like the streamers who do a lot of IRL, React, like whatever it might be. I think that it'll probably start to die off for them because as people get better at the game and as people, you know, start to take it more seriously, because that's just how competitive games are, it will happen. It'll start to kind of come back to like what, you know, like the normal viewership, watching, playing of a hero shooter is. I'm not saying it's going to die or anything, not even close. I'm just saying like it will come down back to earth a little bit because it will probably have those people that will go back to Valorant. They'll go back to Counter-Strike. They'll go back to COD, right? But they'll still play the game. They'll still play it. Like I'm not saying they're never going to not play it again. Like I'm just saying like it'll become in their rotation of games because you know, like you can already kind of see it happening now with like some people. It's like, yeah, like some people climbed really, really quick and then they get a little bit stuck because they're starting to bump into the really good like players from other games. And it's like, if you're talking like top tier COD players or something, like they're getting into like Eternity, you know, maybe even one above all, like top 500, like they're like on the cusp, you know, but if we know anything about hero shooters, you got to put in a lot of hours to keep up with it, right? We talked about Deadlock earlier. One of the reasons why I think Deadlock isn't that great, other than the fact that it's in, you know, it's still in like early access, like you have to request to get in, is like you have to play that game every week. If you don't play it constantly, you fall behind. Your build falls apart. You don't know what items are going on. Like the whole game changes. Like sometimes you're not even having a fight versus anybody for a long time, right? You have to put in a lot of hours. Rivals right now, you don't have to put in a ton of hours to pick up the game and just play. Like mechanically, you can just, you know, you read the team up. So you're like, okay, this guy picked this thing. I can pick this thing. Boom, I'm stronger. I got good mechanical skill. We can do pretty well, right? But I think like eventually it'll start to come back down. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think it also depends how heavy they lean into like all the rest of the collabs and stuff. Like I know that Marvel Snap used to sometimes do events like when the movie was coming out, which is kind of fucking cool. So like maybe if like a Marvel movie comes out, there might be in-game events around that. That brings people in, like makes them want to play, earning the new stuff. But all of this is just speculation. It's borderline impossible to predict something like that, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean the sky is really the limit in terms of what they want to do. Because like I remember like Pokemon would give you like special cards if you went to like a screening of the film. So like, could you get a digital code, and if a Marvel Rivals screening, that gets you a skin in the game?
Yeah,
right?
maybe.
Like that's a thing that you could do if they feel like promoting the films in the game via the game is something worth doing, or vice versa, right? It's like, oh, there's a shout out in the film, just like a throwaway thing about like someone's playing Marvel Rivals or something, right? It's like, oh, play Marvel Rivals, right? So it really is.
Fortnite and the
Poggers.
Avengers. Oh my gosh.
That's true.
Sorry.
They probably, yeah, no, that's exactly. So, but they probably won't do that anymore. Now they got their own game to promote, so they
Yeah,
probably won't do
yeah.
that anymore. But yeah, there's a lot you can do. I do think Flats' point is correct that people do go in and out. I think that is actually the key to long-term success for a game, is that you look at like the way people play League. They don't constantly grind League for 10 years. They like play for a few months and they drop off. then like the itch comes back, and then like a few months later they come back, or maybe something inspires them to come back. Like
Arcane.
they watch Arcane, and they're like, oh shit, wasn't League awesome? And then they play it for like a month. They're like, oh wait, that shit is ass, and then they
I
leave.
like League. I'll be honest with you. Every time I've played,
I
it,
think
I've had
League
a
is
good
fun
time.
too.
I like.
I think League is fun. I prefer Dota, but I think League is fun too. So
But here's the
I-
thing: Marvel Rivals are releasing their own comics, right? Their own line of comics. Like they're making their own digital comics with the character. Like it's a different universe from the main one over there. But I think that's cool. Like just having
You
some
read
kind of.
comics?
I don't read them, but I just know it's happening.
we've established he doesn't read. So
I actually have.
it's
I've
hard
read
for him.
I've read Watchmen, so but I
Wow.
haven't. Yeah, but yeah, I just like gritty stuff where everything's depressing. Anyways, I'm sorry for interject.
No, that's fair. Is there anything else you guys want to add on this topic of just the franchise before I think we're kind of wrapping up basically? Any thoughts on like where the franchise could go?
Lesbians making out.
I
Energy
think
based.
at the end
Yeah.
of the day, people just want to play a good game, and as long as they keep, freshening it up with like hero releases and like, like some balance passes to just make sure we're not playing against the same repetitive stuff all the time, I think it's going to do great, and it's going to do great as long as they keep doing exactly that. That's what I think.
Is there a chance of like them venturing into a PvE or making their own TV
Oh, absolutely.
show?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, aren't they on the Unreal Engine, and like isn't Fortnite's on it, and they have like a bunch of weird spin-offs where Lego Fortnite and whatever. I could see them doing some interesting thing, but I think now the devs are 100% committed to delivering, well, in their words, the best 6v6 superhero shooter experience on the market. And I think that's what they're going to continue to do for now. But in the future, maybe they'll branch out.
And you can imagine
I could
they might
definitely see
actually,
it, is what I'm saying.
they would actually give it a separate team. I would think they would have the money to just give it a separate team and be like, go make a PvE while we continue to make the PvP. Flats is getting PTSD again.
Can we not have another PV incident,
I don't want
please?
PvE.
Please don't do it
I
I
again.
don't
want
want.
a map maker.
Yeah,
I love-
if they had a
Yeah.
workshop or something like that, that would be
Dude,
insane.
Spider-Man rollout maps.
Oh, dude, right? We
A
need that.
workshop would be
Oh,
insane
that
for
would be
actually
sick.
like 1 year down the line when people start getting bored with the game and they drop on a workshop. Marvel Rivals stocks goes insanely up.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, you never know if they make another genre of game within Marvel Rivals, as they so often have done in other games, right? Like the creation of MOBAs famously. So maybe if they give a freedom of a map editor, which again is easier to do than it was for Blizzard, because the Blizzard's problem is that they run their own engine, so it's like difficult to give access to people to that. Whereas as if you're running like
Yeah.
Unreal, Fortnite has a lot of creative stuff going on, so maybe.
That would be so cool.
But Flats, you're
Oh,
against.
you could make like Spider-Man levels where you reenact the movies. Oh,
Imagine.
dude.
No, it can be insane.
Oh,
It could be
dude.
insane. You could do so many cool things, like Fortnite custom games for there. You call them.
Yeah, like Fortnite
Same thing.
creative. Oh man.
Oh, she got so
Marvel
hyped.
Rivals. Hey guys, hey.
SK,
Listen
SK
up.
would be on that. SK be making shit. SK's first creation would be gay level, women
Nah.
kissing.
Gay level,
No.
all the women kissing each other.
It's like all the female characters, and you just have to kiss each of them
Giant
to win the
Psylocke.
level.
Objective
Wow.
kiss Psylocke, but you don't know where she is, so you need to find her.
Like a little dating game.
Yeah, we can do a.
That's
You
a
can
possibility.
do. Actually,
I'm,
yeah,
I'm
you
not
can do a
this
dating
desperate,
game.
guys. I wouldn't do that.
Okay, your Twitter interactions would
Okay,
suggest
anyway-
otherwise.
Anyway, moving on.
Moving on. Just lest SK's mother is watching. I just wanted to say, yeah, Flats, you're against the PV excursion.
Come
Yeah?
on now. Come on now.
You don't want to. You don't want them to repeat that mistake.
Whoa.
I feel like I
I'll be
should.
honest.
I feel like I shouldn't even open my mouth. Like I feel like that does better.
I think people that really, really okay, I won't say it. PV no.
Wow, this is much more dangerous stuff than I thought it was. People are very scared to utter Voldemort's name over here. So we'll move on then to our concluding section, which is I mean, what we kind of already
Think about
talked a little
this.
bit about the
I
future,
don't-
but what do you?
I'm
let's
not
say,
gonna have the
what are you
TTS
guys
spamming though.
looking forward
I can't
to
have
from
TTS
Marvel
spamming during
Rivals?
this.
Like, what
Thank
do you
you,
kind
though.
of
I
want to
appreciate you.
see? If there's not anything that you've already seen, and what do you just hype that you know is coming? So yeah, what are you looking forward to from the future of Marvel Rivals? Let's say in the next 2 to 3 months. I'll go with Boger first. Boger, what are you looking forward to?
a TV show would be great. A movie or two would be awesome. No, I think just keep releasing new characters, new heroes. Be receptive of the player base. Like, don't ignore them if things are bad. Like, I'll be so disappointed if Hela receives 10 million buffs, or like characters that don't need buffs get buffed, and then it's gonna get super annoying, and then they refuse to change anything. That will be really disappointing. And I think so far they're doing great. So just keep it up and try to do their own thing. But if things go bad, just ask the goats. We have a little bit of experience in hero shooters. I think we can give an idea or two. So far they're receptive. I hope they keep it up. Keep releasing fun stuff. More Psylocke skins. And yeah. Whatever SK said as well about the characters. I won't utter that, but
SK.
I hope I hope the seasons are different from each other, like vastly different. I want to see different metas of 4 different bands every time. Like the permaband characters need to change, and I'm very excited to learn new heroes and get really good. I want to get really good at Black Panther. I hope they add more characters like Black Panther, Magic, Spider-Man, Psylocke. They're so
I hope
cool.
they add a
And it
character
seems
like
like
that
to play for
for tank. That's really complicated. I feel like most tanks are
True.
like
You know, some of
like
the tanks are boring.
I feel like
Or
most
wrecking
tanks
ball.
There's
could be interesting. Yeah. Flats.
I want
I think there's
Captain
more to the
America.
tanks than you might think. Like Captain America, I think he's low key. They're going to be the next one that people figure out is actually like secretly pretty
Yeah, he
good.
needs.
Oh.
I mean, he can be annoying. The problem is he just never dies, right? But
Yeah.
I want to say, can we mention how cool the voice lines are? I just like people get so excited for like
yeah.
Berserker, just like awesome. I am
It's
Groot.
true. You are good. Necros, how about you? What are you looking forward to?
Spider-Man buffs. Honestly, I want to play him in one above all lobbies. I feel like it's gonna tough. No, but like I think just more heroes. I feel like in this game, so in Overwatch, I kind of stuck with Genji for like 8 years because I just feel like there wasn't anything really in his style other than DPS Doom, which I didn't pick up because I was just having way too much fun with Genji. But in Rivals, I feel like I have 7 different versions of Genji, so I'm just looking forward to version 8 and 9 and 10.
And they're
mostly.
all mediocre.
Yeah.
And they're all going to be mediocre.
That's
Yeah,
what makes
I mean-
it fun, though. You don't want to grind like an OP character that's boring.
True. It's more interesting to like see like the weaker characters pop off.
Exactly. Because
Yeah,
I
no one
literally
cares
only
about the
played.
number 1 Hela, but number 1 Spider-Man, that's Aura.
True.
True. Yeah, because like SK's point, I pretty much only played Black Panther, and it's fun the duality of like bitching about how shit the hero is, but then trying to pop off too. It's like you can have like a legit excuse where you're like, oh, it's my character that's dog shit, not me. And then when you pop off, you're like, yeah, I'm so good. So Flats, how about you? What's your wish list and your hype train for our rivals?
They have 2 things.
I want to be a better Storm.
Number 1 is I want them to figure out. I'm not going to propose a solution. I want them to figure out a solution on target bans in ranked Diamond Plus. I think it is. I'm not saying make a streamer mode. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying like I don't think it's a good advantage for a player to load into a lobby, look at the enemy team and go, "Oh, I recognize that person. We can target ban them." That is not like you're not banning for the sake of the game. You're basically encouraging people to just name swap constantly so they're not recognized. And so those people who do name swap a lot or play on alt accounts or whatever will benefit greatly as opposed to people who play on their main. It almost encourages smurfing. So I think that they should figure out a way for when you load into a lobby that you are banning based on what your team has. Like if you have a Hela player, maybe you don't ban Hela because you're like, okay, that guy's actually pretty good at Hela. Let's let him play it. Versus target banning enemy players. Like you should be banning based on what the meta is and what your team can play versus I saw a name on the enemy team, let's ban them. Because like when I play with SK and Wanted, I don't have a problem. I never get target banned. But I swear to the amount of Bucky bans I've seen is ridiculous. Like Bucky sucks. Like I don't think he's very good. And I swear he's banned in 95% of the games that we play. And I'm like, why are you guys banning Bucky? Like what's wrong with you? Like are you stupid? So I think that's pretty stupid. And also too, stream sniping can kind of help it because of that. Because like, oh, I see what they're doing over there. Like, let's open their stream and then we can see what they're banning and we can counter ban back. But I think that's an issue that they need to figure out in some way, shape, or form. And number two, Rivals. If you're listening, if somebody ends up listening to this in the future, if you guys come out and make creator codes before Overwatch does, I think I would swap full time.
Oh,
Damn.
Creator codes.
oh.
It has been years, and I'm tired of being disrespected.
He's been
And
begging.
I know
Vouch.
that a game like Rivals would probably do that because there are games out there that are like Fortnite. Hell, even COD did it for a long time. That they respect their creators, they respect their community, they want it to grow, they want it to foster, they want it to improve. And I think Rivals is a game that will do that.
Damn. There you go. Throwing
Psylocke,
out
booty
there.
skin, creator codes, make me a rich woman.
Cool.
Okay, but I want to talk about seeing names before bans. I feel like we should talk about this a little bit more because when I was very first starting, I got really frustrated. I hated that people could see my name before the game because Psylocke was banned in literally 19 out of 20 games that I played, and Psylocke was the only hero that one I knew how to play, but two that I enjoyed. None of the other heroes really clicked for me like Psylocke did. So I was very frustrated and thinking about not even playing the game anymore. But the longer that it went on and the more heroes I learned because I was forced to, I actually do like that I was forced to learn so many different heroes and that I could not one trick. So I don't know. I'm 50-50 on whether names should be seen before games or not because I feel like if names were not shown before the game, then every single game, Hawkeye, Hela, Hulk ban, and there's no variety anymore.
Yeah, it's one of those issues again where it's like you fall one way down the line, you lose some things and you gain some things. Because like, interestingly, in Dota recently, they've actually changed the way they do bans. Because it used to be that you'd manually ban at the start of the game. But I think also one thing that Marvel Rivals will eventually have to deal with is when you have loads more heroes, you'll have to add loads more bans. And then that gets tedious. So what they do now is like you just pre-select your bans. Like you have like 3 bans that you want to make in general before you ever get into a game. And then when you queue up, it like auto randomly picks some from everyone's chosen. And just as soon as the game starts, it's just like these 10 heroes are banned. So it might come down to that where it's just like just simplifies the process and it removes the targeted ban element.
Yeah, but
it's just like you-
imagine it just chooses randomly not to ban Hela or Hawkeye, and you're like, oh fuck my life, right? Because right now, I know if you know how it works. If 5 people vote for Hela and 1 person votes for, I don't know, a raccoon, there's a chance that the raccoon gets banned, and you just lose the game, and it's so annoying.
Well, that is the inevitable part of it, though. You're gonna have games where someone gets their like the meta ban through, right? So there will be a sacrifice. You can't always ban the hero you want to ban. Like that's just the nature of playing a team game. Is that if someone else in your team doesn't have a problem with Hela or wants to play Hela, they may want to let through the ban, and that happens.
I think the majority should just win every time. I think it's stupid to get griefed by like a random that doesn't just wants to troll essentially.
Well, what if you're the guy who wants to play that hero, though, right? Like, what if everyone wants to ban Spider-Man? You're the guy who wants to play Spider-Man.
I'll take the L. I actually thought about this. I don't mind the fact like I have so many. There's so many. Okay, that's the thing with this game. There's like 7 Genjis for me, right? So there's like another Spider-Man. I really enjoy the other heroes too. So I really don't mind. I'm not possible to ban because I yeah sometimes I'll be like, oh man, I really want to play Spider-Man this game and it gets banned, but it's like whatever. Like it's the sacrifice that I'm willing to make for there to be bans because I think it's so much healthier for the game to be able to ban really annoying heroes like Hela and Hawkeye over to like just be able to play my hero every time. It's a necessary evil, I guess. It's good for the game ultimately.
But would you like names to be blurred out before or no?
I also thought about it too. Like, I mean, I guess for me it's not really a problem, but it does kind of suck if you have like I don't know, like a Panther OTP and then they ban Panther and then he just ints on another hero. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, it's like it's not really the game's problem. It's like maybe stop being a one trick. I know that's really funny coming from me, but like
Yeah.
yeah.
But
It's another game's issue.
but they have like the #1 Black Panther, and you're banning Honkai Hella, and it's like, fuck.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I think
50-50.
they should add some, like, maybe it could be like opt-in, like if they add like some sort of streamer mode, and then you could choose whether you want your name to be seen or not,
But
right?
then
That
everyone
could-
would hide it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
then there's no
everyone would hide
incentive
it.
to not hide it.
Probably. Well, what if I want, like, wait, what if I have like an insanely cracked Hello on my team, and then I show my name, and then they ban Switch? See, there's some like layers of it that are interesting.
No, because you wouldn't be able to toggle your name on. I don't think that's how it would work. But you're just like, oh
To
guys,
add on
I'm
SK's
actually
point of bans,
Bucky,
yes,
could
please
just
ban.
random-
randomly,
system of
randomly
team
Necro shows his
turn-based
name for a
bans.
millisecond.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, oh,
exactly.
that's not suspicious.
Hey,
at all.
listen, people
Hmm.
are simple. They would just be like, oh, that's Necros. All right, we're banning Spider-Man. Goodbye, Spidey. Tournament.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's one of those issues where like you kind of have to make a call and you lose something and you win something. So it's like if you
Yeah.
want targeted
Yeah.
bans for like, oh, let's target this guy because he plays this, and you will lose the, some people will feel the pain of it versus like, more blind bans or random bans.
Mhm.
They have their pros and cons.
That's
Anything else?
also,
You go ahead, Flats.
I just want to reiterate, by the way, I actually agree with you guys too, on like the whole, like, it adds an extra element, but like I that's why I don't want to propose a solution. Like, it shouldn't just hide it or just do whatever. Like, figure something out. And if you decide to stand on it and be like, we like that because it forces people to not one trick in the game, that's fine. But then you also have to deal with the consequence of the people who just name swap a lot. So it almost becomes kind of pay to win, like if you're paying extra money to have your name constantly changed, nobody knows it's you. You can keep one tricking and keep climbing the ladder and going higher and higher. Or just it encourages people to smurf more often. So it's like there is an adverse effect that will, I think, be created over time. So it's like whatever they end up choosing, fuck it, we'll live with it. But it is still an issue.
I want to add also that streamer mode does have its downsides. Like if there's a cheater and you get him 2 games in a row, you don't know it's him the next game.
That's true.
Or if you get like a lobby with all pros in it, but everyone's on streamer mode, the aura of that lobby, you can't see the aura, You're like, you get into a game and everyone's got NRG in their name. You're like, oh, holy
Or
fuck.
you can just hide
This
the
lobby's
names
crazy.
only before the game starts, and then when the game
Yeah.
begins,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah,
you can
I
show
think
it.
I'd rather have it like that than like a full-on, I don't know.
Yeah, isn't that how League does it? They just hide it while in the banning phase, and then once
Yeah.
everyone loads in, everyone's names are shown. Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be kind of okay. But to be honest, about the cheater thing, like, I don't know about you guys, but like, whenever I've seen a cheater, like maybe the devs have just been like super receptive to my feedback. I was like, hey, this dude's cheating in my game. I swear it never took longer than a day before the dude was banned. Sometimes it was the same day. They were super quick on that. And
Definitely
have you guys seen
unique
much
to
cheaters
you.
lately? Because I haven't.
I mean, I
was more-
found
Actually,
I found a guy that was cheating. He got banned, and then he got unbanned and queued in against me.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
I know
what-
that
yeah,
guy. I
you
know
can
Maybe we're
that
talking
guy.
about the
yeah.
same guy.
He got banned
Yeah.
for 1 day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
That was weird. That was weird. I don't know what
Yeah.
that was about, but they
I'm
did
just-
ban him after.
Okay, yeah, okay. I mean, I'm just saying like that. There's definitely a little bit of a cheater issue right now. I don't know if it's gotten pulled back in the last few weeks. I feel like it has. I feel like it hasn't been as bad as like the first week or so, or 2 weeks of Rivals. So like maybe they did something, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah, the first 2 weeks were horrible, but
Yeah.
I think it's gotten better. I haven't seen one in like weeks, and I'm grinding pretty consistently.
also want to say I think it's a little too easy to unlock ranked. You can make a new account and queue ranked within an hour.
Oh, they absolutely need to nerf
You can
conquest
farm
mode.
the conquest
so bad.
mode. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can keep farming it and you get so much.
Like, they
XP.
definitely need to increase the level to like 30 or something. I don't know, just like his.
30.
There's also a lot of people
way
that are
too high,
selling.
but
There's like a lot of
yeah.
people that are selling accounts too, which is really, really bad for the whole like ranked ecosystem because it like just introduces
seen
like
a
really
few.
bad players. Yeah. So yeah, they should definitely nerf the XP gains. I think like and increase the level. Nerf the XP gains of conquest and increase the level required to queue ranked is probably the. I hope to see that in season 1.
well, okay, because the game's so new, I think it's fine if it was just like the quick play rates. It still takes like 6 or 7 hours of quick play to get level 10.
Compare that to Overwatch. How much you have to win like 50 games, right, to queue
It's
ranked?
12 hours in Overwatch, yeah. But
Yeah.
Overwatch is multiple years old, and Marvel Rivals just came out.
True. Okay. Anything else you guys want to throw out there before I let you get going? Anything else you maybe want to bring up? Any topics that we didn't touch on? And if not, then thank you very much, Flats, Necros, SK, and Boger, for joining me for this episode of the Group Up Podcast. I don't know when next one will be. I'll talk a little bit after I let these guys go in the call for anyone who is more curious about the state of the podcast and stuff in general. But as SK slowly expands in our screens and in our hearts, I will sign off here and say, yeah, thank you guys for joining me. I hope you had a good one, and I hope
Thank
to see you guys
you.
again soon.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say?
Bye bye.
Not really. Thank you. Bye,
Bye,
SVP
bye.
Nation.
guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye,
See you
everyone.
guys.
Bye.
Bye,
Have a good one.
nations.
Bye. Bye.